Welcome back to the kick-off. We've just finished watching today's 2 o'clocks. Aston Villa have gone second in the league, lads.
Oh, mental.
It's mental, isn't it? Yeah. Do you remember that season when they finished bottom of the league with like 15 points? One of the worst Premier League teams of all time. It's fucking 7 years later and they're second at Christmas. It's mental. That's weird. That's weird behaviour.
Like, they were struggling, a year ago with Steven Gerrard?
Yeah, man.
Do you know what it is? Every single week, Emery's making Gerrard look even worse than we already knew he was.
Yeah, stay in Saudi Arabia, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you who else it don't look good for. Grealish. He swapped to go and win league titles. He won one, he done the treble, but now he's about to slip underneath his old team. So.
He won the treble 6 months. I don't think he's regretting it too much. He'll sleep easy enough. Like,
I mean, can they keep going like this? Like, it's amazing, lads. Like, I can't believe it.
No, they won't be finishing top 2. No chance. No.
They're not finishing top 2, but top 4 now. Top 4, that's a conversation now. I mean,
it would be a bottle job, wouldn't it, if they don't make top 4 now?
I don't know.
That's hard.
I don't know if it's a bottle job, but
who's their competition?
Well, loads. There's fucking Newcastle, Spurs, Arsenal, even Chelsea might have the fucking.
I'm not having Arsenal
Chelsea
brought into
are
that
dead.
conversation.
What do you mean
For top 4. We're title challenges. We're title challenges.
Do you know what it is? I think they're all sort of in the same-ish bracket. If Villa are second, you can't say anyone's that far out in first. You know what I'm saying? Like,
to be fair, it weren't long ago we were saying that it would be a bottle job if Spurs didn't finish in the top 4. And now, how the land lies at the minute, we're looking at that going, okay, it might happen, it might not. So I don't think they'll be bottling it because there's going to be context behind it. If they go deep, which, let's be honest, every single one of us sat around this table surely thinks they're winning that Europa Conference League. The bookies definitely think they are. So if they go deep in that as well,
I just don't think we should underestimate Aston Villa because it's like when you watch them as a team, they're actually a good team.
Yeah,
they're very organised. They've got good players. And then even Arsenal, if you look at it last season, no one expected Arsenal to go from 5th the season before to challenging for the title. So we shouldn't now just write off Villa from potentially being in that conversation.
Villa have actually got depth as well. That's the thing. That's the thing with Villa. Like when we look at, so we were a lot of people are now making the comparison to Leicester, and Villa are actually better off points wise than Leicester were in that season when they won the league at this moment in time. But when you look at the depth for Leicester, and a couple of players that were outperforming coming on. Villa's bench the other day, I looked at it. They had Diaby, the new boy on there. Tielemans on there. They had probably like 5 names that would probably make it into Chelsea's side on their bench. You know what I mean?
Do you know what, mate? I've literally just looked at the Man United team that's playing today, and I don't want to get into Man United slander too early. I don't think there's many Man United players that are playing against Liverpool today that would get into the Aston Villa team that are just won on that game. Seriously.
You think so?
How mad would it be if, of everyone, to deny Arsenal their Premier League title, Unai Emery could come back and hold, I'm just suggesting it's possible.
That's a question for the table. Like, should they? I know they've done well with Arteta, but should they possibly have kept Emery? Like, he's an actual elite manager.
Nah, Arteta's done well, man. You got to give Arteta. They moved on.
Well, but could Emery not have done as well or even better?
Grass is greener for them.
Could Arteta do that with Villa? That's the real question. You can imagine.
No, do you know what? I think. I don't want to sound patronising. Villa is the right level for Unai Emery. Unai Emery,
no chance.
You can't say that.
He's a Europa League manager. He's the king of the Europa League. He's the most Europa League man in Europe. He's won it more times. That's literally what you're hiring.
But are you gonna say Arteta is a better manager than Unai Emery?
Yes.
After everything Unai Emery's won.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, what's Unai Emery won?
Europa Leagues, just like you said.
Yeah.
How could
and Arteta's won an FA Cup. What's harder to win?
I'd say an FA Cup's a bigger trophy than Europa League.
What?
Would you not? Would you not say the FA Cup's a bigger trophy than Europa League?
No way. No way.
You could make an argument that the standard of teams in the FA Cup in terms of the best team in the FA Cup
way higher.
Is higher than the Europa League because they literally Man City would not be in the Europa League.
You have to beat champions to win the FA Cup.
It only gets harder in the FA Cup when you literally get to the quarters or semis.
Which Arsenal did.
Okay. I think in the Europa League, round of 16 onwards, it's difficult. It's not.
I'm not saying it's not difficult. Don't get me wrong. Arteta's failed to win the Europa League on 2 occasions. I think the FA Cup's a bigger and better trophy than the Europa League.
Nah, it's not, man. Because I think the Europa League's harder to win. And the fact that it's more harder to win makes it a bit more. There's that aura around it because it's harder to win.
It's not even just the FA Cup that makes me think that Arteta is a better manager than Emery. I mean, first of all, it's the football that both teams, both managers play. It's also the fact that I don't think we've seen Emery really mount a title challenge with any team. He went to PSG, obviously didn't do very well. At any other teams, he mounted a title challenge. Well, bear in mind, last season, Arsenal came off a season where they finished 5th the season before and then unexpectedly mounted a title challenge against Manchester City. And they're doing it again this year.
Emery wasn't going to challenge with Sevilla or Villarreal for the La Liga title. No chance. That's a Barcelona Real Madrid.
That's where Arsenal were a year ago.
But Arsenal as a club is expected to be in those conversations. You've been poor for the last 10, 15 years.
And it's not just he's won the Europa League once. He's won it, 4 times? And he got to the final with Arsenal? Like, he's been in the final 5 times in the Europa League. That in itself.
And I swear you went on an unbeaten, 24-game unbeaten run under Unai Emery.
If I was to make the argument for Emery,
finish 5th.
If we were going to try and say this was a mistake, you could, and look, without context, you could just say, how long has Arteta been building this Arsenal team? How much money has he spent on it? And how compared to Emery, who took over Villa not long ago, and yet this season, he's partly derailed them by beating them in that game, but also he's 1 point behind them in the league. Like, it is staggering what he's achieving with a team that was struggling a year ago.
They went head-to-head. He done a number on Arteta. Literally a week ago in a head-to-head.
Done a number. I don't know if he'd done a number. We had a lot of chances in that game, and that was a tight game. Look, I don't want to take his flowers away, Emery. He's a good manager. And
you already did when you said he's an Aston Villa standard manager. They are lucky to have him. Trust me, Aston Villa appoint Dean Smith. They appoint Steven Gerrard. They appoint...
all right.
Steve Bruce has been a manager 5 years ago.
We're not allowed to say his name at this table.
Ultimate test. Would you sack Ange for Emery?
No. Have you seen the football we're playing?
And you're behind
No
him.
way.
And you're behind him in
I
the
don't
league.
care.
Would you sack your manager? Would you sack Eddie Howe for Emery?
No.
So there you go.
But I wouldn't sack Ange for Arteta.
Don't come on to asking me.
No, ask him. Would you?
Everyone loves
I'd
Emery.
sack my manager for Ten Hag at the minute. Not joking now. I like Poch.
But I will say with Emery, Newcastle did try to get Emery before we got Eddie Howe. He was on a board.
He rejected us.
Yeah.
Look, let's say the favourites for top 4 would have been Arsenal, Liverpool, City. So and let's suggest that there isn't a 5th place Premier Champions League spot because of how the failures of Man United and Newcastle. The remaining teams would be Villa, Spurs, Newcastle, maybe West Ham, Man United. Out of those 5, Villa are the favourites, right?
Right now, yeah.
You can write off West Ham, Man United straight away. Neither of them are going to be there.
Which leaves...
I mean, the only chance is possibly if something happens from a takeover with Man United, or if Ten Hag gets sacked, someone else comes in and turns it around. But those two aren't going to be there. West Ham, if you're going on their form, they're going to go deep in Europe again. So realistically, you're looking at that spot and you're going, it's really at Spurs, Villa, and Newcastle.
Take West Ham. See West Ham. The fact that they've even been mentioned at this table to me is hilarious.
That's rattled you.
It's hilarious.
I mean, they're 7th on 27 points, so they are having a good season.
Paqueta gets injured, they're done. Finished. Bowen gets injured, finished. What are they going to do? They ain't got no depth. Like you said, they're going deeper into a competition. Everyone's getting injuries because, like we spoke about, this added injury time at the end of matches,
ridiculous,
end of halves. West Ham have no depth. They ain't going to be top 4.
Didn't they get battered 5-0 by Fulham like last week? Brian, take them out of that list.
Okay, so we're saying Spurs, Newcastle, and Villa for the final Champions League spot. You would have thought
Newcastle are favourites. I think they're favourites. I think when you look at the pedigree of that team, I think you look at the fact they got into the Champions League last season already. I think they probably... I'd love to see what the bookies make of it. I suspect Newcastle probably are still favourites.
We're bottom of the league in that sense. Out of the 3 of them, we're actually furthest behind.
You've also done well, in a weird way, to go out of the Champions League group.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. It's what everyone else is saying to you lot at the minute, fucking that 5th spot up. But you've gone out of the Champions League group bottom, which is obviously going to serve you a little bit better with your injuries and stuff like that as it goes forward, rather than then going into the Europa League. So I would say Newcastle with what they've done, but then it's nip and tuck between them two. And then the irony is...
We're 9 points behind Villa, by the way. 9 points we've got to make up.
They just beat City, Arsenal, and then turn it around away against Brentford, Villa. You've got to give them some respect.
And Spurs are 6 points. Spurs are 5 points behind them. My bad.
Right. So I would say Spurs. I would back my boys. But we're losing Son. Basuma's suspended now, and we won't see him till February. And we're losing Sarr as well. These players are just too key for us in January.
So if Villa don't get it, they are bottling it.
I'd think so.
Yeah.
If we weren't losing those players, I would say we're getting top 4 with no Europe. I'd say we're getting top 4.
Why would you write us out of it? Why would you?
I'm not writing us out of it. I'm just saying 9 points.
Why would you make them 9 points?
9 points is massive to catch up. It's a big amount of points.
You need them to lose 3 games.
When I'm looking at Villa in the consistency,
and you can't lose anymore.
The way they performed against Arsenal, mentally such a strong team. I'm like, you guys don't look like you're going to throw away a 9-point lead.
Yeah, but even today, 1-0 down with 15, 20 minutes of the game to go, and then coming back and winning today. Like, they're doing the things, they're passing those tests that for a team to finish in those Champions League spots, you need to be passing these tests, and that's what Villa are doing at the minute.
For sure, but I would agree on Joey with Newcastle. We don't have any European football anymore. I mean, our players are coming back. Yeah, thanks, mate. Our players are coming back from injury. Like, I think we're going to have a strong second half of the season. Like, don't get me wrong, I was devastated to finish bottom of that Champions League group, which, by the way, is the most unjustified 4th place finish for any team in the Champions League of all time. We should have got second. We got fucked in PSG. But, like, we did, for sure.
No, I feel you, mate. Yeah, I'm absolutely.
I'm still devastated.
I'm crying inside.
Joe, I was probably up there with the relegation, like, in terms of how fucking devastating it was. Like, coming out of that ground was fucking miserable. Still kind of am. But no, as I was saying, I think we're going to get our players back. Harvey Barnes coming back. We won't have to play children in the middle of the pitch anymore. I think we're going to have a strong second half season.
I agree. I think we are going to come back. I just don't know if they're going to drop 9 points. I think we're asking.
They will, man. They'll lose 3 games for sure. They'll lose more than that.
As someone who's lived through it, that is what Emery teams do. That is what Emery teams do. Strong start, fall apart. As you said, what was it like 20 games we were unbeaten? Arsenal start of his first season. We finished 5th that season.
Yeah, but here's the problem. They might drop those points. 9 points, how you said the gap. They might drop those points, but that means you can't drop no more points. That's what it means.
It doesn't mean that.
It does.
They'll lose more than 3 games. That's my point. They'll lose more. How many have City?
The one thing we do have over them is we've got to play them again, and we did batter them at the start of the season. So, maybe we're a bad team stylistically for them to play. I just worry. I mean, we've got to win that game.
I just think on paper, when we were fully strength squad, we're better than Aston Villa. We proved that 5-1. Like, the only reason we've dropped so many points is because we've had to play Lewis Miley. God bless him, he's a little kid doing great. But like the likes of him in the team, he should be nowhere near our starting 11.
I don't know, man. Mate,
no. Listen, don't get me wrong. He's been class. He's been really, really good. But we should have had Tonali in there.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at how well coached they are this season. Like, they've gone to another level this season.
So true.
When I watched them against City, I've never seen a team humble Man City the way they did in that game. Arsenal, they frustrated Arsenal. You lot created chances, but you just never really felt like the goal was coming for some reason. Aston Villa did look quite in control.
Defensively, they're so clever.
And their record at Villa Park, I mean, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. No one in the league has a record at home like them this season.
Apart from Newcastle, who have got 7 wins in a row at St James's.
There you go.
Actually, you do have a good record at home.
It may come down to us two. If Spurs do suffer with injury.
Do you not think we're a better team than Villa when we have our full surely?
I feel like there's a conspiracy going on at Newcastle right now because of the fact that in the first half yesterday, we had 2 players go off injured, Shaw and Joe Linton. I'm literally tweeting like there's a fucking conspiracy here. Like, what's going on with the back room? What's going on with the medical stuff? Are we training them too hard? We might have hit a record for number of injuries sustained by this point in the season. Like, it must be. Yeah. And I think part of it's down to the playing style, but the Champions League football, added time, all of that. How come we're suffering so much worse than everyone else? Something's wrong. Yeah, in my opinion.
We got to go out and spend in January for sure. Get at least 3 or 4 through the door.
I don't know if you can, though, can you? You're up against it with financial fair play. Yeah, I don't think you can spend.
We haven't made enough money as a club yet because we haven't signed the Adidas deal for next season and all of that.
So you're saying we can't spend any money in January?
I think it's loan. So remember the Lewis Hall situation? Yeah. So we took Lewis Hall from Chelsea, 20-odd million, 30 million, to be paid later. But Eddie Howe clearly, for me, has had a change of mind on him and thought, you're a good player, but you're not worth that money. Yeah. So they've stopped playing him so that we don't trigger the signing clause. So I think he's holding money back, and we'll see Newcastle sign someone, maybe Calvin Phillips or someone like that. I'm not really keen on signing a player who's happy sitting on the bench, but we will sign someone with a view to buy him later. But I don't think we've got the ability to spend. This whole thing about Newcastle being so rich is, it doesn't matter.
Bring in Ruben Neves, all right? They voted on that deal to get loan players in. Bring him in from Saudi.
Bring Ronaldo, Kante, Neves, all of them.
I will say this though, if all 3 of those teams have their first 11 fit, you guys have all your teams Villa, I'm backing Spurs all the way, I don't care. We're disrupting top 3 if we have our first 11.
What's this?
If we had our 11, if we have Van der Ven, still Manderson like how we was at the beginning of the season, we're disrupting top 3.
Richarlison up front, yeah?
He wouldn't be up front, Son was up front.
Oh, he was, yeah.
I think that's how I feel, to be fair. I feel like our injuries have killed.
We were playing better than Liverpool.
Who was the wingers? Kulusevski and who else?
Wait, what?
Who else was on the wing? Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski.
Richarlison was on the left, but they rotated in with Brennan Johnson, Son through the middle. Madison and Van der Ven are the key injuries for us.
The difference is, that I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, like, you were playing amazing football, right? Respect that. but last season we got top 4, and I feel like the edge would have been with us, given that we've been there and done it, if the injuries weren't the fact that they are, and they're terrible, and I can't see them stopping for some reason.
Newcastle have been the most incredible team in the Premier League over the last 18 months, I think. In terms of what we've achieved, I could be here all day. We smashed Spurs 6-1, 5-0 up after 20 minutes, 8-0 at Sheffield United, beat Man United twice already this season.
What away record
talking about last
is terrible
season.
this season, though, innit?
Huh?
Talking about last season.
I said
We
18
could all talk
months.
about other
I said 18
seasons.
months.
You've lost games as well.
Yeah.
Like-
Let's not talk-
Our away
that-
record this
that-
season has
that
been
does-
shit.
That doesn't fit my
No,
argument.
let's be honest, though. Like, I'm a Newcastle fan. Our away record has been poor this season.
Yeah, very poor.
We really need to fucking sort it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's just quickly go around the table and round up. Prediction for who gets that 4th spot out of Villa, Spurs, Newcastle. Start with you, Joey.
I don't know if I even want to say Villa because the way things are going, I think they might be higher than 4th. But if I've got to pick one of those teams, yeah, I'm going to have to go Villa at the minute.
Here's the thing. If we were still in the Europa League, if we finished 3rd and win the Europa League, I would say probably Villa or Spurs. But nah, man, I think with no European football, a fresh squad, players coming back, yeah, I'm going to back Newcastle for this one.
Craig?
I'm going with Spurs. I'm going with my boys. I've got to back the Lily Whites. I think we can do it. I believe in Ange Ball.
Jacob.
I just about to say Newcastle. Do you know, it's interesting you having that conversation about you know, you're saying if all your players are fit, you finish there. I think you can kind of make that argument for each of those teams.
No, you can.
Do you know what I mean?
You can.
It's
close as fuck.
They're really even, man. There are players from Newcastle that get into each of those teams.
Yeah.
Like Maddison would get into all of those teams. That you know, there are Villa players.
But out of those 3 teams, who is world class? What player? Who has a world class player out of those 3 teams?
Guimaraes is
He's
world
not world
class.
class. No, he's not
Guimaraes
world
is
class.
world class.
Brian, world class.
Guimaraes is world class.
To me, the
I think
only
he is.
player out of those 3, all of them, is Son. He's the only one that is hands down world class, in my opinion.
Still, Son of last season was nowhere near world class. He's in his
Yeah, but that was
30s.
last season. He's got 10 goals, 11 goals in the league this season.
He is playing world class this season. That's a fair.
He's just
Or-
I'm saying, in world football, how many teams do not take Son on the left? Who doesn't take Son? How many players on the left get in before Son?
Well, a minute ago you said he was up front. So which is it? Is he a striker?
Where
now,
they're
or is he-
rotating him.
But
They rotate as a
listen,
forward.
I think he's a striker nowadays. I think where his legs have gone a little bit.
He played
I
left
don't-
for the last 2 games and we just won them.
Yeah.
No player who's
That's why he's world
I know,
class.
you've
He
got
can play
I've
up
got to
front
put
or
Jacob
left.
under pressure. We've got other things to talk about. Jacob, fight
Yeah,
the call.
Newcastle. I'll say Newcastle. I do think. Do you know? The thing that makes the call for me is the fact you're not in Europe. I think that's what makes the difference.
I hope you're right. I hope he's right. Okay.
What about no? What about you? You're gonna just.
I'm going to back Newcastle.
There we go.
Okay.
But Villa are favourites, as Joy said.
Yeah, they are
I agree. We'll talk about the team sheets for today. I don't think any Manchester United fan I've heard has displayed any sort of confidence. Alisson in goal, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, and Chemiskas at fullback, Sobozai, Endo, and Gravenberch, with Salah, Nunez, and Diaz up front. Interesting to see Darwin get a start today. They really are confident, Liverpool. Garnacho, Hojlund, Anthony front 3, with Amrabat, McTominay, Maino in the middle, Shaw, Varane, Evans, Dalot, and Onana at the back. To be fair, for all Manchester United fans have been saying, you know, how they've lost players and whatever, I mean, it's the same level of starting 11 that I've been seeing from them a lot of the season. It's like, all right, an injury here and there, like every team has with these extra minutes that we're playing at the end of every game. I don't think this is like that far off their strongest 11.
Well, it's horrendous. Let's all be really honest.
No, I agree.
That's a horrendous team, but it's also an expensive team.
Yeah.
That's the maddest
Yeah.
thing about the way that club is run.
Yeah.
You go through that team. Oh, you listen off the names. I was like, this sounds like a Carabao Cup team.
No,
what are you
just to be
talking
clear,
about? This is going to Anfield.
165 million alone on Hojlund and Anthony. 165 million.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I mean, what's that? One player away from their first choice back four, probably. That's
yeah, you would say.
Johnny Evans is actually starting then, is he?
Johnny Evans is starting, but obviously it would be Martinez.
It'd
I mean,
be-
that is their best back four and keeper that they.
The midfield, they're obviously missing Bruno.
Yeah.
You put Casemiro in there if he's fit. Front three, I mean...
Casemiro not been playing great, though, even when he was fit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's people on the bench, even for both teams I've never heard of. Kambwala for Man United and James McConnell for Liverpool. So it shows injuries, man. They're packed in most teams.
They've got Wan-Bissaka, Rashford on the bench, Reguilon on the bench, Donny just cheering the lads on for his last game.
You go to Frankfurt. But look at the last name, Kambwala. I've literally never...
I've never heard of him.
Nah.
Number 53 says a lot. Interesting, though, to see Nunez start ahead of Gakpo for example. It's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool try and pressurise it. Do we think that it's a bit of, people are thinking this is a foregone conclusion and that Liverpool are just going to wash Man United, or are Man United going to make a fight of it?
No, I think this is a pretty comfy Liverpool win. I mean, Man United's record against Liverpool over the last 4 or 5 times is ridiculous. 5-0, 4-0, 7-0, 7-0. That's just...
They ain't won here since they had Darmian in the team. And they had Fellaini on the pitch, Herrera, like, that's how long since they
was that when Mata scored twice? Not that long, was it?
May well have
That was
been,
like 10 years ago.
It was,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Long time.
In Man United's away record against the top 10 sides is horrendous.
Yeah.
So I can't see them winning, but I was just wondering if you guys thought they could fight for a draw, because, like, take, for example, when they turned up at St. James's, they just batten down the hatches, park the bus and hope for the best.
Well,
and I see that's what they're going to do.
I think that's the game plan. You look through that team. I mean, you know, regardless of the quality of it, it's essentially 3 holding midfielders they got in midfield there. Do you know what I mean? Amrabat, Maino, and you know, Scott McTominay. That's 3 defensive midfielders really. I think they're coming here and they're hoping to play on the break a bit. I'm supporting them today. I want a Man United win. I think for Arsenal's title challenge, we need United to win this.
What does that say, though? Like, the fact that Arsenal fans are now sort of, hope the plucky little underdog Man United can win.
Do you know what? It's the biggest disrespect you can have as a fan.
Absolutely.
When a team that you consider to be your rivals are hoping you win a game, you know you've fallen through the floor, mate.
But you're not actually rivals, though.
We're not anymore. We're not anymore.
That was just an era.
Mate, even a few years ago, we were fighting for top 4 with this team.
Yeah.
No one's talking about them for top 4 anymore. We just had a long conversation
Even
about
last year,
Aston
you were
Villa, Tottenham and Newcastle.
last year, let's keep it real. You were supposed to be fighting for top 4 with Man United, but you eclipsed them. Like, the amount of money was being spent on Man United. They were supposed to. Again, we've said how Mason Mount, Onana, Anthony, Hojlund. Like, these are serious amounts of money being spent regularly by Ten Hag. None of them have worked. Not one of their signings under Ten Hag is looking good right now.
No. Well, it's funny what you said, Joe, about the last time they won at Anfield. Think about what that team was. Even back then, that team that had Herrera in it, had Fellaini in it, had Darmian in it, we were all going, God, this doesn't feel like a Man United team. This is low in quality. What's going on here?
Yeah.
They've got worse. They've got
sure.
worse, man. It's been like, back then we thought, God, we will never see a Man United team this bad again. It's been a 10-year slide since then.
Take for example, the Champions League defeat to Bayern Munich, which, you know, obviously it's Bayern Munich, but you're in your last game in the Champions League. Have a go. Yeah. You watch Newcastle lose to AC Milan. We had 15 shots. I want to say 7 or 8 on target. We really went for it. We lost. Fair enough. You go down swinging. Man United had 5 shots, 1 on target against Bayern. It was embarrassing that they had such a lack of ambition.
The whole thing. And do you know what it was? I think that's because they'd conceded so many goals in the group up at the last stage against the likes of Copenhagen and Galatasaray, scoring 3 goals, 4 goals against them with fun. So they were terrified. Bayern would slap them up 4 or 5-0, I think.
That front 3, I'm looking at it, is shocking. Anthony, Hojlund and Garnacho.
Well, I think Garnacho has talent and Hojlund has talent. Anthony, I'm yet to see any reason why they spent 80-odd million on him.
But as a free, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying individually. I'm saying as a free, if I'm Liverpool, if I'm Van Dijk, if I'm these players, I'm looking at that thinking, come on, this ain't really that.
We've got some stats about Ten Hag's season so far. It is pretty damning. Brace yourselves. No English club had ever conceded 15 goals in the Champions League group stages until Erik Ten Hag. Manchester United have never lost 4 out of 6 Champions League group games until Erik Ten Hag. And we've got a bit of the defeat stats as well. He's lost 12 games out of 24 this season. I think that might have gone up since then. David Moyes lost 15 games out of 51 while in charge of Manchester United. Gary Neville actually had a better win record at Valencia than Erik Ten Hag this season.
Underrated. Very underrated.
So if you're looking at the loss rate in terms of seasons, David Moyes was 29%. Louis van Gaal, 25%, Mourinho, 33%, Oli, 41%, and Erik Ten Hag's rate this season is 50% defeats. So technically, if you were basing it on this season alone, Erik Ten Hag would be quite clearly the worst manager since Sir Alex Ferguson, contrary to what a lot of people think. Now, like, what has he got wrong? Looking before the game, you're looking at the lack of goals this season. They got rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. And now looking back at that, say what you want about the personality, yada, 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 he guarantees you goals. And they went for the kid, Hojlund, who, for me, should be like a substitute behind a guy like a Harry Kane or Ronaldo or a leading man. You then fall out with Sancho and favour Anthony. Sancho, I think, was the last forward to score a goal at Old Trafford for Manchester United.
Hardly. Jadon Sancho.
It was.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Apparently,
That's crazy.
It
It's
might
been
have
on for
been,
like 3
it
months.
might have been in the league only. I can't remember what. But the point still stands.
That's horrible.
You then replace David De Gea, who yes, he made his mistakes, but nowhere near as many mistakes as Onana.
Yeah.
Onana's looking like one of the worst signings we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if you can legislate for that, though. I thought Onana would be a good signing because he's a ball-playing progressive goalie. Similar when Man City got Ederson, Liverpool got Alisson. I thought that was an upgrade on De Gea, who, let's be honest, has been shot for years. But I don't know, man. I don't think you can legislate for a goalie having such a crisis of confidence as Onana. Like,
I think that's an extreme thing, but like it just shows like look, Mason Mount hasn't worked. I mean, many of his signings haven't worked, and Mount has been injured, to be fair to him. But when he hasn't been injured, he's just looked flat. And Anthony, by the way, has 0 goals and 1 assist in his last 25 Manchester United games.
He tracks back though.
He definitely does. And that's and look, at the end of the day, he's like Miguel Almiron, just without all the mistakes and all of the quality. He's just running around. Just
you really hit Miggy.
He doesn't even smile like Miggy.
Come on, Miggy scored yesterday. Come on, it's world class strike that was.
It was unmissable. I was like, he actually managed to put it in the net. Well done. But no, like everything that's coming for Manchester United right now is getting worse and worse and worse. And the longer he's there, the worse it gets. And I think today for them to have such little hope in a game like this, I think should be the biggest eye-opener that Ten Hag isn't the guy.
Look, I think it might be harsh because he'd only won the League Cup a couple of months before, or a month before. But I thought after the 7-0, he shouldn't have survived that. I don't think. That might be really cutthroat because he'd barely been in the door 20 minutes. But 7-0 in the biggest game of the season, that's not just an embarrassment for last season. That is a historical stain on the club. Same as Brentford 4-0. Like, these things last in the memory for decades afterwards.
I know. Obviously, you got to win against Chelsea, and a lot of teams are winning against Chelsea this season. But at least with Solskjaer's Man United, you know when it used to get really bad, that's when he used to go on a little run and start pulling some really impressive wins together. So the way I would level it, and look, I'm not saying that it just means that they would have beat Bayern, but if that was Solskjaer's Man United, I genuinely think that maybe they get a result against Bayern when everything's going quite bad.
Because they like them.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's the difference between Ten Hag and Solskjaer. Ten Hag's a fraud. Solskjaer was a fraud, but Solskjaer did work hard for him and care about him.
He was a likeable fraud.
Yeah.
Mate,
He's got the legacy of the treble.
Likeability as a manager will get you somewhere. At some point where the lads are like, fuck me, we're going to get a fucking disciplinarian, we better pull it out here because then some real bastard's going to come in. And ultimately that's exactly what the chairman went for, was a bastard to put them in their place. And that's what modern footballers don't respond to that. And we're seeing it now. Like,
they were playing a better brand of football under Solskjaer as well.
Yeah.
Like they haven't really levelled up. They won a cup.
Mate, they've never beaten PSG under Eric Ten Hag.
No. And I was literally thinking, this shows where Chelsea are right now. When we were going into the match with Man United, I was thinking, they could just down tools on him here, couldn't they? And we could win the match against them that way. And that was like probably my most confident outlet of how we were going to win that game.
What does that say?
It's mad, isn't it? Like, it is crazy. But I genuinely do think that whether the players have down tools or not, obviously, like we look at Marcus Rashford, like Rashford does not seem like he wants to be there at all. Whether they've down tools or not, they're not having this manager. And we called it for ages, and we said, oh, no, Man United haters and whatever. You can tell, like, you don't even really need to know football. You can just look at body language. They're not having him. They're not having him.
You're saying right now is setting up for them to come out and upset. You don't even need to know football.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's been going on.
It is actually mad when you think of the fact that last month he won Manager of the Month and Harry Maguire got Player of the Month. When you actually think about it, it's insane.
But those results were so fraudulent. They were against like the lowest of the low in the league, and even then they were scraping it.
So did they take that into accountability?
Rubbish against Fulham, pull off a win. You know what I mean? Like
Burnley,
Who decides that? Who decides Manager of the Month and Player of the Month?
Fuck no.
Do we know? Do we know who actually decides it?
There must be some sort of committee at the Premier League. The same fuckers who are ruining VAR and all the rest of it.
But I swear when Ten Hag was in at Ajax, was there much of a clamour for him from other European clubs? Like
Tottenham rejected him.
Tottenham rejected lack of personality.
I will say when Poch was at Tottenham, he had interest from everyone. Real Madrid wanted him, Man United, Chelsea. It was you were clinging onto him. With Ten Hag, I think it was just Man United wanted him.
Do you know what it is? The reason Tottenham gave really says a lot, though. They said he wasn't charismatic enough, and fuck me, I can't argue with it. Like every interview I see is like watching paint dry.
Was that when they were trying to replace Mourinho, or was that?
No, that was before they got
no.
Big Ant,
when they got Nuno.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Mr. Personality.
He weren't charismatic enough, but then they got Nuno for it.
Nuno had no charisma.
What is that?
Wow. He just got sacked in Saudi. That's crazy.
To be fair, Conte didn't sound like he had much charisma in the interviews either. I know he's a wildcat with the players.
No, Conte's got charisma. Even if you don't like it, even if he's ranting, he's got charisma. It's like you just want to.
He's watchable, man. I'd watch a Conte interview.
Yeah, all the time.
I'm not watching any Ten Hag interview.
Stressed me out though. I can't lie.
Does anyone give a chance of a draw. Predictions.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I will.
I will.
I will. You want at least.
No, but I think it could happen. I think the way they've set up, they're literally just there to frustrate Liverpool.
Anyone really think it's going to be a draw?
No.
Liverpool missing players though. Yeah, you look at that midfield. That is not the midfield they'd want to field here.
Man United do not learn lessons. They turned up to St James Park last season, could have lost 5-0. It was the same story this time. They turned to Anfield when they lost 7-0 a few months ago.
Liverpool win this. But I think there is a slight little chance of a draw.
They're going to score so quickly now. They're going to score so quickly.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, I think Liverpool batter them.
3-1.
Batter them.
I think if you look at history, obviously, when Liverpool beat a manager, that's when the manager gets sacked at Man United. So, I mean, I wonder if this is it.
Could be.
I haven't seen this kit before. Have they won this season?
It is a nice kit. I like
This is their nicest kit.
I'm pretty sure this is their biggest attendance at Anfield for like 50 years as well, because they're opening up the
new top of the stadium.
Yeah.
If Man United perform a miracle and somehow win this game, what does that say for Liverpool?
All right, we're only 40
What does that
seconds
say?
in.
Well,
Only 40 seconds.
What does it say for Liverpool?
It's a nail in their title hose, isn't it? But what it says for Liverpool is it feels like this is a league that no one wants to win.
Because you've got to remember, Liverpool this season, as much as they're top of the league stuff, they haven't been convincing in their wins. A lot of them's been last-minute winners by Trent, pulling it back. Didn't McAllister get a last-minute winner?
Darwin Nunez scored 2 in the last 2 minutes against Newcastle.
Yeah.
We were 1-0 up. But this is the thing. Arguably, that's championship mentality. That's what they're showing in the last minutes of so many
You can't do that for a whole season, though.
Yeah, but...
And I think defences win titles at the end of the day. And for me, that Liverpool defence, they've got good players in there, but they leak it.
Statistically, up until the Fulham game, though, they had been the best.
Oh my God, Onana's in fucking no man's land. What was he doing, man? He literally comes out and he's nowhere near. Like, the defence have got this ball covered and he's just sitting there in the background, just fucking around. He's shite. Look at him. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He hasn't got a fucking clue.
He proper looks like when you put a fullback in between the sticks because the keeper's injured. He's got that vibe about him. No one trusts him. No one
Champions
wants.
League.
Yeah.
Did you see that last goal you can see in the Champions League where like
ball just goes through him.
Every average 4 out of 10 goalkeeper, when the player comes through, he's right on him. He just He's like a fucking scarecrow on his line.
Yeah.
Unreal.
He's super low on confidence as well.
Yeah, they've
That's
killed
what it
him.
is.
He's low on talent though as well. Like,
come on.
I liked him at Inter and I.
Yeah, he was in the Champions League final 6 months ago. Like this is not peak Onana. This is him suffering.
But I think he suits a team where he doesn't have to make too many saves. He suits a team that now again.
A lot of keepers do.
As far as insults go, in the same way that me wanting United to win a game, saying about a goalkeeper that he suits a team where he doesn't have to make saves is a bit of
Hojlund
insult.
suits a team where he doesn't have to score a lot of goals.
But you understand what I'm trying to say? If all he has to do is kick the ball with his feet, he's groovy. As soon as someone shoots at him, it goes through him.
I get what you're saying, but I think this plays more to what you were saying, Brian, about it's just down to Ten Hag, man. I just think the coaching, these players are not having him. You know they're not having him when your 2 best players have been Maguire and McTominay. That's when you know the talented players in the squad are just not performing. They're not trying.
I can't have this about Onana. Like, and I'm not disagreeing that like he showed quality beforehand, and I'm not disagreeing that he has had a crisis of confidence, and maybe he will improve. But the amount of just enormous mistakes, monumental mistakes we've seen him make.
Yeah.
Like, he single-handedly torpedoed their European dreams on his own. Like, and have we ever seen a goalkeeper ever make this many mistakes this early on in a career at a big club and recover? I've never seen it.
Not as many, but I remember De Gea was wobbly at the start. He had a bad first 6 months.
Difference. He was a child. He was very young.
Yeah.
Right? He was 21, 20 years old. Onana's 27. He's in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
Like, you were bought for 50 million to come in now.
Also,
Yeah.
De Gea is currently unemployed. Like we can't say that he completely turned things around when he hasn't got a club.
No, you can for sure. He was the best goalie in the world at one point. Come on.
Well, good enough they replaced him with Onana.
But on what Craig was saying
so many
before
years later.
about Ten Hag's tactics, interestingly, in the Premier League, the 2 strikers who've received the least amount of passes into them in the Premier League, starting strikers, were Hojlund and Martial. So tactically, they're not set up to service the striker. Yeah. So, like, that is 100% down to Ten Hag. You bought the winger that you insisted on playing. Like, if there's one thing we can say about Sancho, there's not a doubt in my mind Sancho would have more goals and assists in 25 games if he'd played those ones that Anthony played than 1 assist and 0 goals in 25 games like Anthony. Like, there's no way Sancho would only have had 1 assist.
Yeah, but we made this point before, didn't we? Like, when was Sancho at his best? When he was feeding balls to Haaland at Dortmund. And now you've got a striker there who, of course, he's nowhere near Haaland's level, but his name's similar. No, he's nowhere near Haaland's level, but obviously
he runs him behind.
In terms of actually what he does,
he
at least tries to do a similar type of job, and you're not even experimenting it. And why are you not doing that? Because your ego is getting in the way of it. It's like... And that's we've said it, haven't we? That's another reason why he's lost so much of the dressing room. Because in a workplace, which is what this is for these boys, you don't always think, oh, well, you're the best worker here, and that's why. No, I don't think that. I used to work with people that were shit at their job, but they were a good laugh, and I liked them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if my boss was being a helmet to them, then all of a sudden I'd think, like, oh, leave it out. You know what I mean? He's undoubtedly he has lost a lot of the dressing room through the treatment of Jadon Sancho, and that's undeniable.
What we're seeing so far, lads, 5 minutes in, just for those who aren't watching the game at home, if you're listening, hit the like button, thanks very much, is Man United tried to play out from the back and just had a nightmare. So they've gone long with Onana now. They've sort of given up on that. And for me, Route 1 isn't a bad idea against this Liverpool side. And they're now on the attack. And he cuts in on the left. Oh, and it's blocked.
And he does what Anthony does.
Who would have thought he'd have cut in on his left there, eh?
Shocker.
Anthony cutting on his left.
That's his one move. Twice a season he'll score a goal doing that.
Everyone goes, yeah, but Robin only had one. Robin was fucking good.
Yeah.
You can't
Robin did
do
it
that
every week.
I love it when people go...
Deontay Wilder, he's only got one punch, hasn't he?
Yeah, they use the exception to the rule to disprove the rule. It's like, you're a fucking moron for even saying that, mate. Like, Ian Robin, the best one-footed player in the... Oh, by the way, he'd be a World Cup winner if he had another foot. I don't know if either of you remember that, but he fucked it in the final, didn't he, with that with the right foot. Miguel Almiron, though. Yeah, he's the worst.
You can't resist, man. Leave Miggy alone.
You're on him.
He's like the nicest, happiest footballer, bro.
I'm just glad I
Would you have Mudryk over Almiron?
No.
No.
This is how bad it is. I rate Almiron ahead of Mudryk. Did you see the Mudryk shot yesterday where he hit it from about 20 yards out and it just went to the corner?
What did you say to me? You missed every chance you didn't take.
Yeah, I didn't say that, you fucker. But Josh is on holiday at the moment, so he doesn't have to put up with us.
Where's he gone?
Rinsing his...
Egypt.
Egypt. Liverpool on the attack now, plays it through.
What do you think of Nunez? Like, honestly, what do we honestly think of Darwin Nunez?
I know Anfield Agenda guy loves him. He thinks he's going to be like a Ballon d'Or winner.
I don't know about that anymore.
No chance.
Ballon d'Or winner.
No, I don't think he's saying that at the moment. I don't know.
Oh, he's not. No, but listen, Nunez. Everyone was going to say he's going to kick on after he scored 2 against us the last 10 minutes. Like, that was the confidence maker of him. But I don't know, man.
When does he play in a row?
He's not bad this season statistically, but
he doesn't start games in a row for me. Like, to be in number 9. There's a couple of things you need. You need regular service with a team built around the understanding that you're the main man, which, while Mo Salah's in this team, I don't think will ever be the case. You can't be them. Like, I'm not saying Mo Salah won't try and pick him out, but, with Man City, they bought Haaland. They changed their entire style of play to suit Haaland and to get the best out of Haaland. Whereas with Darwin, they bring him into the team and they expect them to sort of slip into their style. And I don't believe that he is anything like a Mane, a Firmino. Like,
oh Jesus!
We've just dancing on ice.
I just think we've all been around the game long enough now to know that when we speak about these players that we're waiting for to come good, they never really come good, do they? Like, what examples can you really give me? Like Gareth Bale, like he was one that when he was early on, we were saying when he comes good, he could come really good, and it happened. But for every one example like that, I can give you 100 that didn't. You know what I mean?
He's also very expensive, like 80 million or something.
Yeah,
I think it's
Nunez.
80 or 85.
I just think if your team is top of the league starting this game week and you haven't had any real contribution to that, and like you said, the manager isn't starting you week in, week out, I think it says a lot about you, to be honest.
I'd like him for Newcastle. I think he plays like heavy metal football. He's brilliant at that, like pressurising. He's got all the pace, the strength. He's not a waste of a shirt. Like, look, he puts the graft in, and I think that he's a bit of a... He's not like an Anthony, right? You sign Anthony, he's a total waste of a shirt. It was a total waste of money. Is he an £80 million player, Nunez? I don't think he is, but I also don't think he's a waste completely. I think there's talent there.
Would he not be good fit for you at Spurs?
I'd have him. I'd have him, but I mean...
He's not clean enough, though. I think that's the thing you talk about, like you boys are playing Son up top now. That's a clean technical footballer. Isak at Newcastle is a clean technical footballer. Jesus at Arsenal. Even Haaland at City. People go, he's just a goal scorer. He's got he can keep a ball. Mate, Nunez's touch is like a trampoline. And he's 24 as well. He's not a kid. We talk about him.
Knowing what you're going to get from a player is so underrated as well. Like Son goes through on goal or gets an opportunity. You know what you're going to get from Son. You know what I mean? Whereas with Nunez, you might get something brilliant, but you might get something shocking.
Can Nunez be what Garnacho fires over? Can Nunez be what Emil Heskey once was, in that he's like a battering ram for a smaller, more gifted, faster player, and be the strong man?
I don't think they spent that money on him for him to be what Heskey was.
No, I agree, but I think you kind of got to cut your cloth to suit what you've got now and go, right, you're not what we thought, because he's coming on as a substitute against Newcastle and doing what he did, and I think as a substitute he may be more best placed for Liverpool to be that role. Like, if I had him for Newcastle, I'd play Isak till like 70 minutes, and then I'd look at Nunez and I'd go, right, they're tired, go on and fucking tear the life out of them, frighten them.
I think when Darwin Nunez was signed for Liverpool, if you told the fans that he'd be the next Emil Heskey, I think they'd burst into tears.
I know.
Could be made get a yellow for that.
Because Newcastle were in for him, and we didn't get him, and then we signed Isak because we didn't get him.
Yeah. Who is going through a bit of a bad patch at the minute, though?
I think he's unfit.
Ever since you talked him up to being like the best striker side hand in the league.
No, this is the thing, is I've definitely seen exactly what you're on about. His legs look so heavy.
Yeah.
But still, do you know when I was talking about the lowest passes to be received as a starting striker? Isak's in the top 5.
Is he?
So he scored like 7 goals in 12 games, but with some of the worst service to him.
Yeah.
So, what do you expect when you've got Miguel Almiron on there, 5 assists in 5 years?
Can someone just do an Ali Miran counter on him?
I swear down though.
We could start a drinking game. Drink every time Brian mentions.
Smash by half time.
Get the whiskey out. Let us know how you're getting on. But no, I think that's a part of the problem in Newcastle, is just the service there.
How long do you reckon till Hojlund scores a goal for Man United?
Fucking,
you mean in the league?
I don't want to keep having to see that meme on Twitter.
What is it? 12 games, 13 games or something?
He hasn't scored in the league.
13.
No. He scored in the Champions League, but not in the league.
Scored loads in the Champions League.
Every
How
week
did that go for him?
we see that geezer on Twitter singing that song.
Yeah. I know
The little guy with that bad acne, bless him.
Yeah.
I
know who you're talking about. Every time Hojlund has a bad game, he's not really a lookalike of him. I mean, but it's, you know what I'm saying.
Wait, he looks like Hojlund.
What's the song?
Fuck knows. He's not like a well-known musician or anything like that. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
How's it go?
I've got to search it because
Floor is yours.
I mean, it's the first video. This is the thing. There you go.
There you go, straight away.
First video that comes up.
Oh, yeah, I like that kid. Who is he?
Yeah.
Well,
he's Australian.
It's low-key a banger, to be fair to him. But
he looks like the one from Breaking Bad, doesn't he? Todd.
The what?
Yeah, he does a bit.
He looks like the what?
Todd from Breaking Bad.
The one what from Breaking Bad?
Remember Todd?
Blonde guy.
You fucking idiot. So, anyway, he's a good singer, right? But he's not Hojlund, and people make the comparison that he looks like him. I don't think that's fair. But, to either man, they're both beautiful in their own way. All right, let's settle that about. Yeah, all right. 12 minutes gone.
All goes to shit when Josh is on holiday.
This is it. Josh will be watching, having a fucking.
Is this a talking point, or I don't know how I'm supposed to analyze this?
No. Just do you like the song, really? To be fair, right? Man United will be happy with this in terms of they're making it scrappy, and they've weathered the first 10 minutes.
Look at that graphic. See what I say about that record against Liverpool. It is absolutely shocking. 18 goals for Liverpool, 1 for Man United in the last 6 games. That is horrific.
You see that from Anthony there? That pass he just gave.
He's fucking useless.
He's so bad, man. I can't believe people don't talk about. I know people.
Can you give him some constructive feedback? Because he's sick of you lot. Remember that? He goes, if you're going to criticise us, at least make it constructive. I'm like, fuck me. Where do I start with you? You fucking shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're giving them as many commentary curses as we can to help them today.
The sad thing is, I quite like Garnacho. I don't mind Garnacho. I think he's a bit younger than the rest of them. I think he's a decent player. But the thing is, when you're Garnacho, if you're going to play in a front three, you want the other two to be players you can rely on. Do you know what I mean? You know when the ball's going to come, who can carry you a little bit. Exactly. He's the most trustworthy out of that three.
Yeah, he's shown hints of magic here and there, and even in games that he's not actually played that well in, he's turned up and done something. I think he would, in a team with less pressure on them, maybe like an Aston Villa, where ironically, where the expectations aren't necessarily to go and challenge or anything, but he can come in and out of the side, have a little run as a substitute. But with Man United, the fact that they're starting him, I think, says everything about the lack of quality in the squad.
You spoke about the Man United team from like 2015. You're saying there's been no progress. It reminds me of under Moyes when they had Januzaj, and he was like
exactly the same.
He was held up as that wonder kid, and they put all the pressure on him. And in the end, it just burnt him out. He went to Sunderland. It was crap.
You could see that happening with Garnacho. You could see it sort of not quite happening here. He goes somewhere else, and there's just no career. And you go, why did you pick that guy as your hope? And it's like because you had no other hope.
He'll be the next Makeda.
Yeah.
But no, I actually do think he can be a quality player. It's just I don't think that Ten Hag has the ability to manage this team and actually like look after him.
So go on and give some solutions then. If you're a Man United fan, what one striker, what one in the forward line would you sign in the summer? Who would make the biggest difference?
Tony for me makes sense.
You think?
Tony for me makes a lot of sense. Like what I was saying about a minute ago with Garnacho. If you're Garnacho, if you had someone like Tony next to you, that helps. Do you know what I mean? Someone who can receive the ball, hold the ball, feed you a little bit.
The only thing with Tony is he hasn't played in like 7 months?
Yeah.
It could be a bit. It could be one of those.
It's a weird market though at the moment. Like there aren't that many. Everyone's talking about Awesome Head.
Oh, surely.
Jeez,
Oh my God! Onana just got away with one big time.
Wow.
And I was sticking up for him as well.
It's hard to watch.
I was
It's
sticking
hard
up for
to
him.
watch.
Mate, he's covered his fucking keeper gloves with Lurpak.
Yeah.
His confidence is so short. It's genuinely hard to watch.
Let's see this.
He comes to claim a very easy ball, and he drops it, and it lands to Mo Salah of all people, who manages to just skew it wide.
It's on his right foot.
Like that alone is just criminal in a game of this magnitude. And it's every single game. Like, if you're playing Man United, the thing that people don't do enough of against Man United is just fucking shoot. Shoot from 20 yards, 25, it doesn't matter. Just get it on target, you've got a chance.
And he has had those moments now to turn his confidence around. Obviously, there was the penalty save in the Champions League, wasn't there? And you're thinking, okay, you could push on from here. There was a little period of, you know, like when someone's been doing really bad and then all of a sudden they still not great, but they don't do as bad. We go, they've turned a corner. There was a little period.
Satya saying that.
Yeah, there was
after they played the relegation team.
Exactly, yeah. And there was that little time when you were like, oh, okay, maybe he's starting to come good. But I don't know. If I'm a Man United fan, I'm probably ruling out the opportunity that this season we see any real good come of him and him live up to the price tag. But
they need to sign the backup goalkeeper, I would say.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, just someone who...
you know they should sign who's pretty good? De Gea.
Well, what about Henderson that they had? Like,
decent.
Is he actually contracted? I can't remember if that actually...
Nah, they sold him.
Right, because he was loan, and then was he signing?
He's gone. He's gone. And did all right yesterday. He was in goal against Man City.
Yeah.
2-2 draw.
We got a corner here to Liverpool. The pressure is still on. Well defended by Amrabat. Trent whacks it. Nah.
They're just losing all the battles, Man United. They're not even, do you know what I mean?
They never get the second balls.
Nah,
they never ever
passion.
do.
That's when you know players aren't playing for their manager.
Because it's just pure down to hard work, isn't it, mate?
Do you think if another manager comes in, though, straight away it elevates Man United up the league?
Mo Salah in the box.
I think it does. I think for a couple of reasons it can. First of all, because I think it's a bit of a funny league this season where, as we spoke about earlier, there's a lot of moving parts. Aston Villa are currently top 4. They could drop out. Spurs were up there a minute ago. Now they've dropped out. Do you know what I mean? It's like what you said earlier, Craig. There's not that many points between sort of like 8th and 9th and sort of 3rd. So I think they could. But also, it's what we said about, like, they have got quality. In that squad, they've got players who we've seen do it.
It's a £1 billion squad.
No one likes Bruno, but we know that Bruno can play. Casemiro might be over the hill. We know that he can still play. Sancho, if you get the right manager, he can play. There is quality.
There is definitely quality in the squad.
When it comes to new manager at Man United, because they have such a petulant, moody squad, I don't know. Like, they got rid of Jose Mourinho, one of the best managers in the world, bring in Oli, suddenly an upturn in form. There's no way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on the same page as Mourinho, but because they liked him, they went on a fucking 20-game winning streak.
I think that says a lot about the type of manager that they need, though. They need a babysitter. They need a big Ange type of big friendly giant type.
Well, the link with great.
But then can I say something? As bad as Ten Hag is, and he is bad, like, we have to admit that, we can't ignore the problems that are going on at Man United as a club, though. There's definitely problems there. And it was confirmed when Ronaldo came out and did that interview. I've said it time and time again. He said it, Mourinho said it, they've all said internally the club's not being run properly. So I feel like get rid of Ten Hag, he's not good enough, bring someone in. But this is going to be the same sort of problem until they sort it out.
Yeah, the story at the minute is that they're trying to get Dan Ashworth out of Newcastle. That's what they're saying today.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the point of the newspapers when they meant Manchester United received boost in pursuit?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm like, does that mean Ashworth said, come and get me, or what?
No chance really.
Like, look how they had. I don't want to bring up his name again. He's moved on, but look how they handled that Mason Greenwood situation in the club. Like, look how they handled that. It was a shit show.
I mean, he's still their player.
Yeah, you say he's moved on. Yeah, he ain't moved on. He's just
Well, you know
unknown,
what I mean.
they're hoping that he'll do well this season. Then they can get a little bit more money from them.
They handled it horribly. They're not moving correctly as a club, in my opinion, like at all.
So do you not think, like, even when Eddie Howe came in, I think it took him a couple of games to start winning, didn't it? It took him like 3 games or something like that. And there was obviously the one game with Steve Bruce still in charge after the Newcastle takeover. But straight away,
that was funny.
St James's Park sounded lively again. It sounded optimistic again. And straight away, even though you didn't start winning the second the takeover happened, you could tell something was happening. Do you not think there's that chance? I know it's not a full takeover, it's 25%, but if Jim Ratcliffe comes in, do you not think there's that chance that you don't even need to replace the manager? All of a sudden, just the vibes, the atmosphere, the optimism all lifts around Old Trafford.
I don't think so. I think it's a false equivalency because when Ashley was gone, Ashley was absolutely 100% gone. Glazers are still at 75% control? Like,
Yeah.
They're still there. And also, like what you were saying, Craig, about the Ronaldo interview, it's like, it runs throughout the whole club. I mean, they don't stop going on about the roof on that fucking stadium. But it's like, do you know what I mean? Or the catering, or the fact it's the same chefs as it was Ronaldo was there the first time. There is so much to change there. And
if it isn't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
And what was the thing they said the owners didn't show up for recently? There was something they were criticised for not showing up for.
The passing of Bobby Charlton.
Yeah, like they didn't even show up for their biggest legend. Like, come on, man.
Ten Hag wasn't at that funeral.
Goal. Oh, he's missed.
And he still missed that. Yeah, but that just to me, that shows you've got owners that just really do not give a shit about the club. Like, they don't care.
But even the way they've sold the club, even the way they've tried to sell the club has been bollocks. Like, in terms of we're selling, but really they were just, let's figure out where we are on the market. We'll take a small piece. We're then going to inject money into the club, not at our expense, inflate the price even more, make even more money down the road. None of it was sincere in any way.
And Newcastle, you guys know, it's the perfect example. When you had Mike Ashley, was Eddie Howe there?
No.
So Mike Ashley's there. Do you think if Eddie Howe comes in while Mike Ashley's there, this still happens? What's happening now?
No.
That's how important.
We would have improved, but
not like this.
But nowhere near.
Nah, you'd have got out of relegation.
But there is a difference, though. Is like
that's the
difference is Newcastle were not spending any money. At all.
Facts.
Man United have consistently been spending shitloads on Ten Hag signings. They've all been shit. Yeah. So Ten Hag is the problem as well. Like, that's the thing.
100% he's the problem. Like, you could just see they don't even play good football.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking in terms of
the vibe.
I think even if another manager comes in, which another manager probably will, I just don't know what that manager's going to do in the way the club's being run at the moment. It just feels, the club feels toxic.
Yeah. And even is Ratcliffe, is he the big savior of the Ineos group? I mean, what's he done with Nice? I mean,
not a lot.
I was listening to a Kasper Schmeichel interview the other day. He said it was pretty much a toxic atmosphere. He was basically told he wasn't the future as soon as he signed. Right now, they're wanting Graham Potter. They're wanting to follow the Brighton.
That was hilarious. When I saw that come up, I was laughing my head off.
And
might as well get Lampard in.
Who would they go for, realistically? If Ten Hag was to go, who are they?
They're saying Potter.
No,
that's what they're saying.
Come on,
he's on the shortlist. They're saying if he goes.
Yeah, I think they need a nice guy.
They
need a nice guy.
You didn't see that report this week?
I've seen the report, but that's got to be bollocks,
Joey,
man. You can't.
How did you feel when you got Potter in? Because at the time, Potter was one of the most highly rated managers in the country. I said it from day one. It was just overrated English bias. It was him. You know what it was? In 2021, it was him and Steven Gerrard were the 2 highest rated English managers in the world.
2 great managers. No, I was obviously disappointed because it came off the back of us losing Thomas Tuchel, and no one really wanted to see Thomas Tuchel go at the time. Yeah. But do you know what? Graham Potter came into Chelsea, and a lot of people forget. I think it was took him 8 games to lose or something like that. I was at his first game. I was at the game in the Champions League against AC Milan when we battered them. Yeah. Graham Potter started off all right at Chelsea. I think anyone was going to fail around that time because of the ownership and the structure of the club. But I've got no doubt that Potter could be a decent manager again in English football, but Man United, I think the job's too similar. I know there's different underlying factors, but the going into Man United is too similar to going into Chelsea at that time.
Two toxic situations are very hard to sort out, which a lot of it is above his head.
De Zerbi?
I don't even think De Zerbi's that good.
Man United, De Zerbi at Man United? Is he better than Ten Hag?
But
I can't definitely say.
De Zerbi now has the hype that Potter had at Brighton. Like they were doing similar sort of. I mean, De Zerbi's doing it better.
De Zerbi's a bit better, yeah.
He had to shoot him.
I think
Sammy Hipia.
There's no way De Zerbi isn't better than Ten Hag for me. Like, he's literally 1 point behind Ten Hag with about 5% of the net spend. You know what I mean? Like he must be better.
I guarantee you, Unai Emery does better at Man United.
Yeah, of course.
Unai Emery would actually do better with these sorts of players and show how much of a good coach he is there.
Michael Carrick would do better.
The thing you're saying about De Zerbi, though, definitely be better to Tag. He probably is, but Ten Hag at Ajax, everybody was
it's true.
glazing.
It's a different ball game though. Like you're playing in the Dutch league. Like, come on. Like,
you know what they would say to you?
Steve McLaren won the Dutch league.
You know what they would say to you? You got the semi-finals of the Champions League, nearly got to the final. I wouldn't agree with them, but I know what they would say. That's what they would say.
We got to talk about Man City because they're currently in the middle of the worst start Pep Guardiola has ever made to a Premier League season. We've got they're currently, how many seasons has he had? Fuck me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Is it actually the worst?
It can't be 8 seasons.
7, I think, isn't it?
2016 he came, 7, yeah.
They've got 34 points, which puts them in 4th place. They've never been in 4th place at this stage of the season, and their best points tally at this point in the season would be 49 points. So that's 15 points more than what they've got currently. That's the range that we're dealing with here. Now, they have actually had 35 points, which is one more than they've got now, and still won the league before. So they can still win the league. But we have to take notice of the fact that City are not looking that good this season. And I thought that there'd be a little drop-off because of a couple of players that they lost. But this is the point now where I think they're not going to win the title. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Arsenal look too consistent. I don't think that the mental weakness that Arsenal showed at the end of last season is going to be there. I think the addition of Declan Rice is keeping them consistent. I think Liverpool are looking consistent. And I think the championship mentality that both of those teams have shown, Man City are not showing that right now. Giving away a 2-goal lead against Palace at home is absolutely unheard of for a Pep Guardiola side.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would say about City, though? I remember it was very similar in 2021 season, sort of a half lockdown season. I think they're about 9th at about November. I think they were. I think they made a really bad start. They lost 5-2 at home to Leicester, and I thought they were out of it. I think I did a video saying that Guardiola should probably move on. He's burnt out, he's stale. They won the league easily. Like, I think City are the only team in the Premier League who could go on a 15-game
Well, that's
winning
it.
run.
You'd never bet against them doing that.
I would. I'm going
this
to.
year?
No, I am because the clutch players that they relied on before, obviously Gundogan and Mahrez aren't there, and I've mentioned that many a times on this. But also Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think it's fair to put the level of pressure on him to just come back and can you just go on a 15 game? Like, he's had a lot of injuries, and as much as great as he is, one of the greatest of all time in the league, no doubt. I just don't think it's fair to him to expect that. And other people are underperforming. Like, has Doku come in and been what people said he was going to be? He's a good player.
He started well,
but a little bit Alan St. Maximin in that, you know, he can do great tricks and he's effective and he's fun to watch. But is he going to run games for you the way Mahrez would? Is he going to have the impact in goals and assists the way Mahrez would?
The signings in general haven't really come hit the ground running.
You bring us on to the midfield because they played Lewis in midfield yesterday, the young lad who can play. I think he plays fullback sometimes. He plays all over because Pep likes to do that. But then you look on their bench, Calvin Phillips, a seasoned centre midfielder, sitting there, 50 million, sitting on the bench. Kovacic, sitting on the bench. So, like...
Nunez
also...
barely played a game.
So, it isn't just down to injuries. It's also Pep being Pep. You know, Pep likes to get overcomplicated sometimes. And... Grealish, Foden, for me, are great players, but they were helped by the fact that they didn't have to carry the load while Mahrez, Gundogan, and Kevin De Bruyne were there.
Show what it is. On those signings, can anyone really name me a player other than Haaland who Pep signed for City and did have a world-class debut season? They all seem to struggle. Even Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Grealish, they all seem to start slow. I don't know, man. It takes a while to get the Pep
Grealish is that guy now. Like, Grealish,
no, I don't either.
Grealish is a good footballer.
Good save there from Onana. I mean, it was sort of straight at him, but I've seen him make a meal out of him before.
Yeah, City are weird though. I saw City were linked to a João Paulino from Fulham this morning, which is just...
Well, I mean, who isn't though? Like, everyone's looking at him.
I know, but they got Mateus Nunes in the summer. And he's pretty much the same player. Like, it's...
Grealish is a good footballer. I just don't think he's $100 million footballer.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
never
Won in the treble though, alongside
No, he did, but alongside some of those great players and Phil Foden.
Absolute Irish
like
snake,
Phil Foden hasn't pushed on.
Exactly.
He hasn't.
Exactly. Foden is like, he's a complementary ingredient, but he ain't the main meat and potatoes of the situation. He's never going to be a Kevin De Bruyne level footballer. We're seeing Bellingham, for example,
I don't know,
as we said earlier this season, Bellingham is that guy who we thought Foden would be.
Do you know what they should have kept? Cole Palmer. Should have kept him.
But I think defensively,
Foden's only 23.
No,
23 isn't young.
I'm not writing him off as a footballer.
It's not like young.
No, but if let's just
He's
say,
also been about for a few
let's
years.
just say he stays at City the rest of his career. That is young in his career because he could be there for another 10 years.
It's young in his career.
He could get to 27, 28, and we might still. I believe we're yet to still even see the best of Phil Foden.
I agree
and
with
he's
you.
still a quality player now.
I definitely agree with you, but I think like what you're saying about Bellingham, it's not just Bellingham. There's other players. You could even say Cole Palmer to extent who've gone elsewhere
don't
and
do that.
taken.
Let's not do that.
I'm not
I
saying
swear you've had a foot.
We're not doing that.
I'm
Phil
not
Foden's
saying
done way more than Cole Palmer.
I'm not
he's
saying
he's just a big fish in a shit pond at the moment.
Cole Palmer's been better than Foden.
But what I'm trying to say is these players who we're saying who are younger than Phil Foden have gone elsewhere and taken responsibility. Saka puts Arsenal on his back every week.
Yeah, but-
You
yeah,
could
I'll
even
say
argue
something.
Anthony Gordon's doing it.
Yeah, but I could easily say that Saka or Cole Palmer, or I can easily say about Cole Palmer because they got rid of him, can't come into that City team and put that City team on their back.
But I'm saying that Foden has been there long enough now, and if you're Phil Foden, yeah, but what is he like? He's a 10, really. I know he's played wide, I know he plays here, there. He's a 10. If you're Phil Foden, really, since you came into that team 4 years ago, you've been looking at Kevin De Bruyne and going, one day I'm taking your seat.
It wasn't just Kevin De Bruyne though; it was David Silva as well. There were players there that were like, it was hard for him.
And he's not taking their seats.
Yeah,
I've got
but
a
we're
question
talking
for you,
about
Craig.
super some of the
mate,
best players ever.
Phil
like,
Foden's a super talent.
You're
He's
talking
a
about
super talent.
I know, but you're talking about back then when he was at 21, 20 years old, trying to take the mantle off of players like David Silva, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne. They weren't going nowhere until they
But
went.
now he's 23. Take it.
And but it's only been
he
what?
taken it?
But it's only been what, a third of a season? We're coming up to half of a
I've got a
season.
question though. Is there a worry and this is for English football as well? We all believe Foden's a mega talent. That's not what we're questioning. It's just the delivery on it. And I think Marcus Rashford is a mega talent, but he hasn't delivered on that yet.
No.
Has he? He scored plenty of goals. He set up, but he hasn't hit the heights. And I think that despite the age of Foden, he's in football years older than his actual ages, and we should be seeing the direction of the ceiling coming closer and closer now. And I just think that what we're seeing is he's just not willing to take the responsibility of being the main man, and I don't know if he can. But while we're on to him, there's also the defence. I just think that they're getting caught out by stupid mistakes.
they are.
Down that right-hand side against Palace, Walker was bombing forward. They were caught out behind there. Walker's getting on a bit as well. It's a lot of responsibility to be asking of him.
To be fair, it is nothing usual for City to slip up against Crystal Palace. They are their bogey team.
It's their bogey team.
Happens every
But
year.
what is unusual is for them to concede 4 against Chelsea, for them not to beat Liverpool, not to beat Arsenal.
3-game winless run in the Premier League.
Yeah, Spurs. Do you see 3 games without a win in the Premier League?
Yeah, they went through without a win this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do
So
you know one thing? You talk about the defence. One thing no one's talking about with Man City, they've got the most expensive defender in the world in Guardiola.
He's not hit the ground running again. We were talking about signings there that haven't hit the ground running. He's probably. I mean, look, I don't think he thought he was going to be playing like left back a lot of the time. They've stuck him up. But again, he's not one that's hit the ground running.
But then again, though, John Stones hasn't really been fit. Diaz in there, but.
I just think there's other moving parts around City. I agree with everyone at the table that City have not been the City we know, but we got to understand as well that in the Premier League, anything around them will affect what happens with them as well. So we don't know, and obviously I'm just talking hypotheticals here, but we don't know that if Arsenal, for example, get injury to Saliba again, or another key player like Saka, what that does for their season. Or Liverpool, if Liverpool lose Salah, or another key player in their team like Van Dijk, what it does for them.
No, you bang on.
I know right now they haven't had Kevin De Bruyne, who is probably the best player in the league. The last 2 games, they haven't had Haaland, who is arguably, he is the best number 9 in the league. If they have all their players and everyone else has all their players, I think City win this thing. So I don't know, innit? I don't know if you're going to have your players the whole season. I don't know if Liverpool are.
I think you're right. It's down to that. I would still say at this point, if you had to ask me to put money on any team to win this league, probably say City.
Yeah, I agree. City have got the best squad. That's not what I'm disputing. I'm disputing that Pep Guardiola is not as good as what people say he is, and for just
I'm looking at you. I know.
Brian,
let me land.
Brian, Pep's the best manager of all time.
The credentials,
Yeah, I knew you were going to go off that.
In terms of medals and all of that,
You can't just slip that in as a fact.
Let me explain.
All right,
I said I believe. I don't say it's a fact, but I think all of the credentials prove me wrong. Right? This is an opinion, but what I'm saying is I think he's outspent. He's a checkbook manager who's had the luxury of inheriting a hell of a team and spending another $1 billion on top of them. The issue is he's now coming up against Arteta and Klopp, who are used to working within their means more than he is, and are now getting closer to his squad level. Now that FFP is slowly withering down the gap between them, and I think that Pep's signings, like the players he didn't use yesterday, Phillips, Kovacic, on up to the standard of what he's left go in Gundogan, and it's coming back to haunt him, and I think it will come back to haunt him later this season, because when I'm watching games, I just feel like Arsenal are the favourites for the title.
Do you know why I disagree? I just think that going for the fourth one in a row, everyone knows, is just so difficult.
That's a fact, though.
You win 3 in a row. No one's ever done 4 in a row. They just done a treble. You've got to then galvanise this squad to go again, find the hunger levels again. It's very, very difficult. That's how I see this season.
Whilst having key injuries. Like very key injuries, you know what I mean? Having Rodri out for time, De Bruyne out.
I take the point of he hasn't, the other managers, his competitors in Klopp and Arteta haven't spent as much as him. That's a fact. Like, no one can deny that. He's definitely had a checkbook. I'm not disputing that. But I just don't think you can question the quality of Pep Guardiola, man.
But you just alluded to yourself saying that where do they get the hunger from? In getting 4 in a row, like no one's ever done that in the Premier League.
Yeah, but that's not easy to do. That's just not easy to do.
No, but you're sort of alluding to having no hunger. Where's the
No, but
where's the motivation?
That is the challenge for Pep, though. That's what I'm saying. That is the challenge right now, to get them to go again and get that. But I don't think that's easy to do, and that's why it's never been done. Fergie couldn't do it. Who's done it? Who's done it?
I agree that's a fact. I put it more down to Pep Guardiola has a great reputation for being a great coach, but he relies heavily on personnel. He always has the best team in the league, and I think that this is the first time I've genuinely looked at their team and thought, are you the best squad in the league? Probably, but is it closer than usual? Yes. And I think that the skill gap between you and the managers that you've got all these more medals over isn't actually what the medals suggest it is. I think you've just been buying those medals and actually been able to outspend them. And if we actually found out the real level and you all had a similar playing field, you wouldn't actually beat them in these titles. A lot of the time would Pep beat them? Occasionally, yeah, but it would be a lot more evenly shared out. And I think that's what we're going to find out. That'll be proven this season.
From someone who's got sort of quite painful first-hand experience, we can't even buy a top 10 finish with £1 billion this season so far in Chelsea. So I do think that you've got to look at it in a way and go, yes, of course, the infrastructure's there. And you've always had the money. And you're right, he has always had the luxury of having the best squad, probably. But at the same time, there's a balance in the middle. You've got to get things right.
And he also improves them. He brings in good players, very, very talented players, but he always improves them, in my opinion.
Well, they have to improve, because if they don't, they get thrown away. Like £50 million defender after £50 million defender. See you later. Like the treatment of Phillips. Like, you either improve or you're out the fucking door. Like, Pep has this luxury that other managers just don't have. Like, the amount of players who are getting in this Liverpool team who Pep wouldn't even consider, and yet they're top of the league right now, speaks volumes.
The only thing with the Calvin Phillips one is I don't know whether Pep wanted him in the first place. Like, if he was any nationality but English, I'd be like, oh, you failed there. But because of obviously meeting the what is it, like in the squad you need X amount of English players, don't you?
I think Pep is quite picky with the Harry Maguire situation. Like, Pep must have all of the say at this point. I mean, you can't win 3 Premier Leagues in a row and not sign off on transfers at this stage. Like, he's earned the right to do that, but I could be wrong.
This season is going to be the biggest challenge of that. Like, this season, what City are doing now, they might go out and just throw 100 million quid at someone in January, and that's the difference.
There you go then.
Otherwise,
that proves my point.
They might do that. The other thing he might do, which we've seen him do before, is change something tactically in the second half of the season and work it out. And that's going to be the challenge for me. I kind of want to see him do that. I'd love to see him do something a bit different with his team.
What are we relying on, really, though?
He always switches up the tactics.
No, we're relying on Kevin De Bruyne coming back and saving Pep's arse. That's what we're relying on. It's on De Bruyne to come back and provide for Haaland. If he doesn't, they're fucked, in my opinion.
And if he did go and spend that 100 million, we've all just said, like, no player really hits the ground running for Pep. So it may not even change things this season for him if he goes and spends that 100 million.
Paqueta would be the... I mean... Is that who they're looking?
Doesn't turn this City team all of a sudden into twice the team they are at the minute. And look, they don't need to be twice the team they are at the minute to then go on and potentially even win the title. They may even still do so here, but I think you need a bit more than just Paqueta to...
I don't know though, man. it's a weird one at the moment where he was the guy that they didn't get in the summer. He was the guy they were linked with. And you kind of go, well, okay, you want to, like, say they do want to replace De Bruyne. Who is that guy? If it's not Paqueta, who is it?
I don't know.
No, this is it, man. No one's got any names anymore.
I mean, why are we placing such... I know De Bruyne's been unbelievable, but this City team... I remember when they got 100 points. They didn't have De Bruyne for half that season. He was injured in November. He was out for it, and they got 100 points. They were the Centurions. Like, they don't... The whole team doesn't revolve all just around De Bruyne.
It doesn't, but he is the best player. Who's better than him in the league?
I'm not saying...
Not only does he elevate things, he also elevates Haaland.
All I'm saying is that they can win games without De Bruyne. They can't.
I think in previous seasons they've had better players around De Bruyne to step up when he's out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I said last week, statistically, De Bruyne was their biggest goals and assist contributor from midfield, but third and fourth were Gundogan and Mahrez, and they're not yet. So you got to have Doku step up, Foden step up, Grealish step up, and we're not seeing that.
Yeah, clutch moment players as well.
Yeah, and this is that's where I look at the myth of Guardiola and say, like, yeah, he's a great manager, and I have no doubt that in seasons he would have outdone Arteta and Klopp, but the gap is nowhere near what people think it is because he's always had the best squad and the best players.
But there is a gap.
It's not a myth. It's not a myth. He's the greatest of all time.
Nah, but there's
there's
not a single.
No, I think he is the greatest of all time. I can't argue with that, but I just don't think that the skill gap is really where it is.
I don't think you could pick a single manager in the Premier League right now, put him into Man City in 2016 and have the same success or anything close to it.
No,
I don't think so. Maybe Klopp would be the next best, but
even Klopp. And see, it's gonna sound like I'm disrespecting Klopp. I don't want to disrespect Klopp. I like Klopp, but how long has Klopp been at Liverpool now?
8 years.
8. Are you sure it's not more?
No, 2015.
So it's 1 year. He's been there 1 year more than Pep's been at Man City, basically. Yeah. One Premier League title.
We can't ignore though, like, the spending gap between Klopp and it's literally like, yeah, I'm going to tie one hand behind your back, we're going to have a fucking boxing match, see how it goes, yeah? Like, there's no way Klopp was ever in the same planet as Pep was in terms of money. And look, the more FFP come down on it, that's the one bonus is coaching and talent ID and the real, issues managers have got to face on a daily basis will not just be bailed out by we've got more money than you. And as much as a Newcastle fan, I should not want that to be. I think it's better for the sport.
Yeah, but how much was Van Dijk?
Mate, you're going to literally use the exception to the rule. That doesn't disprove the rule.
How much is Alisson? He's still spent money, Klopp,
you literally, it's like there's only 2 players.
No, but he spent money.
Yeah, he spent money. But like, it's like I shop at Phoenix, you shop at fucking Gucci, mate. Like, Phoenix is
it's more. No, you're going too far. It's more like I don't know. He's in Harrods and he's in Selfridges. It's not that much of a difference. I don't think there is. But obviously, Pep spent a lot more money than Klopp. There's no denying that. But Klopp, like, how many other teams in the league spent more than Klopp?
Like a lot of them. A lot.
Oh no, in his tenure since he's been there.
Like, for example,
5 teams.
Like, I'll put it. This is the best stat I've got off the top of my head. Sure. Ten Hag already has spent more net spend than Klopp has in a year and a half.
They're a joke, dog.
Like, okay, I'm just giving.
Okay.
So, like, before we finish on this topic, does anyone here, along with myself, think Man City don't win the title this year?
I think no. Honestly, after yesterday's result, I think there is a chance they don't win this league now. Whereas every other week before this week, I thought City's got this still. No matter what's happening, he's still got this. But that result yesterday, to me, and even watching his interview after the game, he just looked a bit. He looked a bit edgy. He looked a bit like he's biting.
Do you not think the last few weeks though, like for example, with Pep in seasons gone by, he's always gone, do you know what, it's going to be really hard. We're going to have to fight. It's going to be and it almost patronising because we're all like, bro, we know you got the best fucking team in the land. Like, stop trying to act like this is going to be hard for you. Like, everything's in your advantage, and yet. He's done the opposite this season. There was a question went to him and he went, yeah, I think we're going to win the league. And I thought, oh, you're actually fucking scared. Like, and I'm good with this shit. Fighting-wise, I see through fighter interviews. It's one of my best attributes when I look at things. And I could tell immediately you're rattled here. And I do think he's very aware that this is going to be one of the hardest ones.
Definitely.
Anyone think they definitely win the league still?
That's one thing I can say for sure. Like, normally, especially even last season when Arsenal were giving it a right good go, I'm normally always sat there like, City are going to win it, man.
Same.
They're going to win it. They're going to win it. And this season, I can't say they don't win the league, but I'm definitely not sat here feeling that.
I just think if there was, I don't know. It's like what you said earlier. You said no one really wants to win this league. Like, there's not a team out there who I think could step in and fill that void.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's a fun.
Liverpool are struggling right here against Man United.
Liverpool have only lost one this season, though. You're saying there's not a team out there. I mean, they're doing pretty fucking well.
But this isn't Liverpool like in 18-19 Liverpool. This
doesn't need to be, though. If
If
Man City don't go on this run that we're all predicting, like we're all sitting there thinking, yeah, but they'll go on a 13, 14 game run. If it doesn't happen, then Liverpool don't need to be. Liverpool don't even need to be as good as the season they finished second and were unlucky to miss out.
This is the weird thing about this season. Arteta and Klopp are both be in a weird situation now where they will realise that this is their biggest opportunity in a very long time. Like we've just said, Klopp's legacy...
No, last season was Arteta's biggest opportunity.
You
spent the whole season top of the league. I was convinced Arsenal were going to win the league last season. I didn't think City were going to win it.
Are City better this year or last year?
Last year.
They were better last year. So this year's a better opportunity to win the league.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Look, the whole of last season, how many days did you... I'm not trying to do it for fun. How many days did Arsenal spend top of the league? Last year, I was convinced Arsenal were winning the league. You couldn't have told me Man City were winning the league. They were so far behind at one point.
I guess what I'm trying to say is it's going to take a lower points tally this season to win this Premier League title.
To your point,
it's going to take a lower
Man City had 5 draws, 5 defeats last season, and the other 28 were all wins, right? This season, Man City have already got 4 draws and 3 defeats. So they're nowhere near on schedule.
The reason I think City might still win it is because I don't think either Liverpool or Arsenal are perfectly poised to take advantage of what's happening at City right now. I think Liverpool, if you're asking Liverpool fans, they'll tell you they've done a midfield rebuild this summer. And if you look at their front three, it's like what we were saying about Nunez. I still don't think they've completely settled on a new front line after the Mane, Salah, Firmino front line moved on, right? Arsenal, kind of similar. We've kind of done a bit of a midfield rebuild ourselves. We brought, Rice and Havertz in, Partey and Jack have kind of gone out. So we like, I get what you're saying, Craig, that we were top of the league last season. We've made some big changes to our team this season to prepare for Champions League football in the same way that Liverpool have had to rip things up in their midfield and start again. So I think the frustrating thing for both Klopp and Arteta is they'll be going, Christ, this is the year where you could get City. This is the year where they're not going to get 98 points, 96 points, whatever it is, right? Neither team are properly prepared to take advantage of that now.
Yeah. And Liverpool right now are struggling to break down Man United.
I was literally about to say, we're saying all this right now, and if Liverpool were 2-0 up in this game, as probably I expected them to be by half-time, I know that sounds like it's quite confident of Liverpool, but if they were, then I'm sat here now thinking, Liverpool are going to be the ones that pull away. And we still got a lot of time to go.
To be honest, it's been
scrappy, isn't it?
It's been a lot like, well, actually, Newcastle's game against Man United was actually more dominant than this. We just couldn't put the ball in the net. But similarly, Man United, just like against Bayern Munich and against many teams this season, they come with zero ambition and they're just trying to nick a draw. And that's where Ten Hag has regressed them to, to take them all the way back to like playing what is, Big Sam Allardyce football. That's the way Ten Hag's got them.
It's like we said before the game, the 3 holding midfielders and a couple of wingers who run. That is Man United's
it's 11
game.
behind the fucking ball, though.
To be fair, though, hasn't this been Man United's plan for going to Anfield for the last 10 years? Like, even Mourinho was doing this.
Yeah, but the whole point of moving on from Mourinho was we're going, Dutch football, Eric Ten Hag, it's going to be attractive football now. And it's just this again. I mean, I think Liverpool's problem, every time United get the ball, they are running through Liverpool's midfield quite easy. I don't think this has been a good endo game at all. And I think they do look like they miss someone else who's going to find that pass in the final third and create a proper chance. Because as much as Onana's made it look like there's been chances, I don't think he's had to, apart from the one from the corner, he's not made that many good saves in this game.
Interesting. Got a free kick here from high feet on Endo.
You got to commend Man United just to get into half time 0-0 in this.
I don't know, because look, when you're looking at team for team, it's probably a similar level of value. It's just one have been performing so badly that we give them a free pass and kind of... I kind of thought, like, people... I know the 7-0 sort of played in our minds ahead of this game, but this is exactly what I thought it would be, just like the Newcastle game of zero ambition and pray for the best.
I think Endo's unlucky to get a yellow card.
I do.
Anyone just see that? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going on about who's in the unnatural position...
Yeah.
Anfield,
It's Amrabat's going in the unnatural position.
Officials are scared of Anfield. We know this.
Did you see the red card against for Newcastle rather yesterday.
Raul Jimenez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's someone who's broken his skull. He should know better than fucking flying him a karate kicks into someone's face. You know what I mean? Like
It was Eric Cantona RS, but he kind of pulled it in the last second, and then his hip smashes into the
Was
head
it
of
the hip?
Longstaff.
So
It was
idiotic.
like his arse in his
Yeah.
head.
I was going to say, he Rikishi'd him.
Nah.
Straight.
Show it is. I've seen Raul get sent off the first half before for Wolves against Man City away. The biggest game, most hardest game of the season. 2 fucking yellow cards inside a minute. Got sent off for half time. He's an idiot.
We were quite lucky in that game, Newcastle, because, to be honest, we weren't playing great. I didn't think we had a great, but we did what we had to.
Considering Fulham's form, though, good win. Like Fulham,
relieved.
what was it? 14 goals in 3 games or something like that.
And
Fulham
we've conceded 9 in our last 3, so I'm like,
It was like a 16 swing in the goal difference between Newcastle and Fulham before the week leading up to it.
Yeah.
So.
I want to talk about Lewis Miley.
Yeah.
What do you make of him, mate?
Well, you know what? I feel like I came across badly earlier when I was like, he shouldn't be in the team. I felt like I was slagging him off. No, he's been amazing. He's living his life. Like as a 17-year-old, to take on the pressure of filling in for Tonali in the last month or so, like 2 months, like he's slotted in as if he's got the maturity of a 29-year-old. Like he's 17 years old, and he looks about 12 as well. Like unreal.
He really does look.
Yeah.
It's like very obvious. Like this is a kid right now.
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes has been singing his praise, saying, "I can't believe how good he is. When I was his age, I was shite." And
Joe, it is though. I don't want to put too much pressure on him because I remember Matty Longstaff. I thought a similar thing when he came in. I know he's a bit older. He wasn't 17. He was like 19 or whatever. But like, I don't want to heap too much pressure on and say he's going to be like an absolute star, and then you get.
I disagree.
But then, do you not think with
No,
Longstaff?
you think-
With Longstaff, do you not think it was more like moments why you had those feelings?
Yeah,
of him,
it
whereas
was.
actually with
Yeah.
Miley, it's actually how he plays.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm not saying Longstaff wasn't good, but obviously I can't remember who it was. There was a few key moments of
Man United
Longstaff.
at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Man United. There's a
Longstaff's
few
like a
key
workman-like
moments.
player.
Whereas with Miley, I look at him and I'm like, mate, like you're sort of doing what I wanted Enzo to do when he was brought in. He was brought in for 100 mil.
Mate, when
The pass against us, when he threads it through, Isaac gets it out his feet, lovely. Like, but that pass there, I looked at that and I was like, that is literally what I thought Enzo was going to be doing for us.
So some of the stats on the kid. He was 13 when the pandemic started. Just got to throw that out there. Just got to put that out there.
Could be a subscriber.
Youngest goal scorer in the Premier League since Makeda in 2009. Premier League youngest goal scorer for Newcastle, youngest assist maker for Newcastle, top 3 youngest Champions League English players along with Foden and Bellingham, and he set up a goal in the Champions League against AC Milan. So I guess in the last, I think it was 4 games or whatever it is, he's got like 2 assists and a goal. Like, but again, perfectly put by Joey. It's the way he is on the ball that's strange. He when the ball comes to him, like many other Newcastle players, they need the shout, man on. He knows where everyone fucking is when he receives that ball, and he always keeps it under control. It's not like he's always threading through balls through. Sometimes he just go backwards, but it's so composed.
Yeah.
And that's the strain. That's why I'm looking at him going, you could be world class. I don't know if you're going to be. That's up to you. Do you want to work hard or not? But you have the ability at 17 that 99% of footballers do not have, and you're both footed. Like I've seen him whip crosses in on his right and go, oh, he's right footed, and then I see him hit it with his left and it's like pinging it, and I'm like, what foot are you?
Yeah, my
This is mental.
only worry with him though, before he turns 20, I want to see him starting games on a regular basis, and if we want to go, we want to go. I don't know, man. I don't know if we start with a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid next season. in
What
midfield.
about Manchester United back in the day, though? When they had the class of 92, one of the reasons some of those players progressed is because they had Eric Cantona and Roy Keane and high-level footballers around. Like, if he's playing next to Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali and players of that calibre, Isak or whatever, you're going to learn as much as you can.
Would you not send him on a loan, though? Like,
No way.
You wouldn't at all?
No
Even
way.
to, like,
Who's better at bringing on young players in the Premier League right now than Eddie Howe?
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't know, man. If we want to get into the challenging for like league titles in the next few years, like
When did he let us down, though? We were playing Paris Saint-Germain. He tackled Mbappe.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
reads the game. This is another thing I've got to say. His reading of the game, because he's got these big, long legs, because he's fucking 6'4" or whatever, and he's 17, he manages to intercept the ball at a rate that's unusual for a young lad like that. Like, he sees passes coming, and then, a bit like Bellingham, and like, there's one time I'm going to compare it to Bellingham, fuck me. But, you know, Bellingham's massive, and he can just put his big fucking leg out and carry the ball.
So would he be a starter for you then?
I wouldn't start him, but what I would do is I'd give him a lot of football, a lot of second halves, a lot of substitutions, cup football, and then eventually, because let's face it, what did Newcastle struggle with this season? Injuries, man. Like, we need to rotate players. He will develop it by, like, when you're good enough, you're old enough. Michael Owen was playing first team football at 18. What's to say next year, Tonali might come back and realise his place is gone and he's got to start and fucking try and displace this kid.
I just think if you give him to like an Ipswich or someone who played good good football and they'll be up next season. Like, he'll be playing every minute of every game next season.
You can't kick this kid out of a Champions League. Like, he's as you say, he's tackled Mbappe. You can't send that. Also, and I know what you're saying. I mean, and listen, you watch that team a lot more than I do. From what I've seen, he's playing a lot better than Tonali was. He's doing a lot of things Tonali weren't doing.
I know, man, but it's been like, what, 2 months?
You know,
2 months of this?
about talent,
That's as much as Tonali had.
if you're talking about talent, right? Like, in terms of pure raw talent, and raw isn't the right word for him because he doesn't look raw, but like, why on earth would he be out of the conversation for a starting place in that? Like, competition for places is when Newcastle were at their best. Like, when players were worried about Longstaff displacing them in the mid-park. I think he could easily be starting games if people aren't on their game.
Look, you could be right. He could be a future Bellingham, and he could be like a future war star, in which case, yes, keep him in the team. But he could also be just a really quality English midfielder who's, doing his thing, but needs game time, man. Like, when we go on a bad run, like, even he's been in the team for the last 2 months, he's done really well, but we haven't been perfect at all. You know that. We've lost games.
But like, if Liverpool had I mean, I don't know if they did, but I'm going to shoot myself in the foot if they did. But like, I look at Steven Gerrard and the position Steven Gerrard plays, and I certainly don't think that Miley is going to be Steven Gerrard. But he's a similar position, and what they did was they played him regularly. They gave him lots of football. They got him to understand the games of the players who he's going to be playing around with as long as possible. And, if you were comparing Steven Gerrard at Miley's age, I'd be fascinated to see the difference in them, because I've not seen a lad with this level of quality at 17 before in the Premier League.
If you didn't know his age, if you're just watching the game, you're not even having a conversation about potentially talking about the team. But obviously it's relevant because we do know his age. But like I say, when we're talking about young players, one thing that young players can always often produce is like moments of individual brilliance. We're talking about Makeda there, right? What's he done since? But he did produce moments of individual brilliance. And obviously the game against Villa, I think it was
what I'm worried
next
about.
game against Sunderland, he scored again. What Miley's doing, he's having good moments, but he's ticking the game over. And that's the main thing that you're thinking, like mid-20s, you start doing that sort of thing.
Like,
so
Carrick used to do that sort of shit when he was in his prime,
So
what I
if
mean?
you're showing this already, then sky's the limit, really. And I also think that it's again, a very, very good thing. And I've said this about like Conor Gallagher in Chelsea's midfield. It's a very good message when you're building a club that ultimately probably will end up attracting superstars and stuff like this. It's a very good message for the training ground and for the work ethic amongst the team to go, this kid costs nothing and he's in the midfield and he's starting at the moment. So this is basically telling everyone here, leave your ego at the door because I don't care what you came in for. If you're not, and obviously at the moment it's because of a bit of an injury crisis he's playing, but if you're not up to it, I'll pick whoever's best for the job rather than just thinking, right, I'm going to pick you because of the price tag you've come in for or you're standing in the game. I think it sends a good message and I think it keeps a lot of players on board as well. It helps the young players be pushing on in training as well to know that Lewis Miley's in the team. So there's every chance I can get in there. It's not just that there's superstars here and I'm never going to break in.
That's how you keep academy players as well. Next time you get another one, and you're going to have more of them because you've got Dan Ashford.
But his brother's in the academy.
And you want to keep them. You want to keep those players, and that's how you do it. I mean, the thing is, I think as a midfielder as well, you're kind of fortunate there because it's a position on the pitch where you can come in and out a bit. It's always hard with strikers. When you got a young number 9, what do you do? Because you can't just move Haaland out of the way to give someone else games, but then what do you do because they need to play football exactly like you say. I remember Fabregas at Arsenal. He had a couple of seasons where it was him, Vieira and Gilberto. And if ever one of them wasn't fit, he would play. If both of them are fit, you don't play. There are certain games where he'd play instead of Bergkamp and he plays more of a 10. As a midfielder, you can kind of mould them in and out, move them around a little bit. I think it's more fortunate than a 9, a centre-back, where it's a lot harder to blood someone because suddenly you're on your own, mate. And if you make a mistake, that's the end of the game.
That's such a good point about Fabregas. If there was a player who was an unreal young player, it was him.
17, same age.
I must admit, that's where you might have me beat in terms of like who was the ultimate 17-year-old midfielder in the Premier League that I've seen. But
I wonder would Southgate have a look at Miley then? Ahead of the Euros, maybe? I don't know. Like a cheeky call?
Well, there is a spot there, isn't there?
Yeah,
like exactly more or less where Lewis Miley's playing. There is a spot there because you can name most of the team, but there's that one remaining spot in midfield where we go, does he play Calvin Phillips even though he's getting no game time? Does he play Henderson even though he's playing in a substandard league? Does he play Gallagher? And there's that spot there, isn't there? So Lewis Miley could be in with a shout, but I think the man picking who goes in that spot is the reason why we won't see Lewis Miley.
It's a shame because I think, like you say, mate, it's like the top and bottom of that midfield. The bottom of it is Rice. The top of it is Bellingham. And when you think how professional they both are, obviously Bellingham's so young, but they're both like big body, strong midfielders. Like you kind of could sneak. I mean, also How physical would that midfield be, by the way? Bellingham,
They're all
Rice,
6'4", 6'3".
Jesus Christ. So that's terrifying.
Actually, when I look at those guys, and I look at Louis Miley, who's obviously 17, no one's at their full strength of that. I think you need to look at them lads and go, I need to get in the gym, get my diet right, because it's the modern day beasts, aren't they? Like that's who he has.
That's what
he hasn't
midfielders look like
He hasn't
now.
got the strength yet, but he's got the frame. And when he scored, I mean, as a Newcastle lad myself, I fucking it was an extra bit of. Fuck me, I love this kid. Like, I'm so happy for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, to say because of how he looks. I mean, he looks like fucking Harry Potter's age, for Christ's sake. Like, you're so happy for him because he is that age. Do you know what I mean? And God knows what his mum and dad are going through right now.
Born in 2006. It's insane.
When he was born.
Man,
Oh my God.
Born in 2006.
That 13 at the start of lockdown stat, that's
So hang on.
sent me
So when
west, man. That's
So
crazy.
Fabregas was already in the Arsenal team when Miley was born. Then that's how far we go. That's how recent he was fucking born. 2 years after you last won the league.
But
Fucking
the
hell.
Fabregas comparison of bringing Fabregas through in a cultured midfield where you're going to learn how to dig in and spray the ball. That's the type of thing that we need to learn from Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes and all that to bring this kid on. But he's got everything.
The only thing is, I don't even really believe this. I'm just saying it. Fabregas in the team at that age, great player, 100% great player. Didn't that coincide with Arsenal just stop winning everything?
That wasn't his fault though, was it?
It wasn't.
That was the level that Arsenal were at, which is where we are now, really.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
I think, I get what you're saying. I think it's an unfortunate thing that he did also come at a time when we moved stadiums, ran out of money.
Not just that,
all the big
Jose
players left.
came in and the money from Chelsea was there. It was
Chelsea-
these lot.
Chelsea took over.
It was these lot disrupted the apple cart of...
Just minding my own business there. I get pulled into it.
I'm
It's
just saying,
great.
Chelsea upset the apple cart of
I
the whole Fergie Wenger thing. And
I think less of a kind of did we fall apart when Fabregas come in? The way I think about it is how bad would we have been if Fabregas didn't come in?
Oh, yeah.
If we didn't have Fabregas in that era between 2004 and 2010, what were we, man?
I also think
genuinely.
I also think just on the Lewis Miley thing, we got to manage the expectation a bit. Like we don't want to just put too
I'm
much
going
pressure
crazy,
on him
mate.
early.
I'm actually lost it.
No, you got to
you're
manage
totally
it.
right.
You don't want to do it because we've seen that with young players. You know what I mean? And then the pressure's on their shoulders. Either one, the pressure's on their shoulders, and they capitulate, or it gets to their head and the ego gets a bit too inflated. And then
You've seen it. Well,
you got to just manage them right.
I'm worried about the England call-up for that reason. I hope they don't get him because I just think, what if something happens like there's a Beckham moment for England and he fucking destroys his confidence or whatever? Like, just keep him.
He's in the under 19s right now. I've seen he's in England under 19s. Just do what he needs to do there.
New England manager's going to come after this tournament. Things will change. I think we all kind of know that Southgate's going to pick his favourites. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be his little victory lap where Maguire plays every game.
Who do you think he does pick in that third midfield spot?
Right now, if I was to put money on it, Hendo.
Could you?
me.
Look,
Genuinely, man, it's
though,
crazy.
isn't it?
It's crazy. I know it's crazy.
He's putting him in the
I
squad,
know
isn't
it's
it?
crazy, but who else is?
I
Is in-
remember,
is-
not that he's not as good a, obviously Henderson's a better player than who I'm about to say, but he was picking Connor Cody a lot, wasn't he? And then obviously Connor Cody drops down to the Championship, and Southgate said in his own words, he said, I can't pick him now because obviously the league he's playing
And
is
he
too
looked
low
gutted.
standard.
He looks gutted.
Do you know
And
who
it's
they should
like,
pick?
it's like what? The Championship's not better than the Saudi league. Like the Championship pieces all over the Saudi league in terms of quality. I know you've got individual stars, but pound for pound.
Is it not a very easy solution? Get Foden off the wing and put him in that midfield three with Bellingham and Rice.
Tried it. It don't really
no.
work.
No,
No,
Does that not
do
work?
you know who Southgate should pick? Just on his philosophy. This isn't what I think. It's if I'm looking at it through his eyes, there's an obvious person who brings solidity, strength, decent player, Sean Longstaff. Serious.
I mean,
Gallagher.
yeah.
Nah, he's gonna go Conor Gallagher.
I'm not even bantering. It is Conor Gallagher.
He's gonna go Conor
on
Gallagher.
those things. Again, like if you said to me it could work and we put Foden there, yeah, of course. I'm not going to give Conor Gallagher a shout ahead of him. But if you're going on the sort of attributes that you've just said, I do think
can't
Conor
Conor
Gallagher.
Lewis play there?
I think Conor Gallagher's
Tried
more
him, eh?
talented, more talented than Longstaff. But I think he's far more ambitious and therefore leaves holes at the back. If you look at Newcastle's record with Longstaff, without him, the amount of wins, and that's when you realise, fuck me. And it's because he's a grafter. And what you want is someone who isn't going to take away from Bellingham and isn't going to try and outshadow Rice in his position, who is just going to do all of the shit that no one wants to do. And as much as I never thought I'd say this, because I, for a long time, didn't really rate Longstaff that much. What he's done for Newcastle, I can't dispute. Like, we win more games with him. And I know with England, he would just help us win games by doing that shit that no one wants to do.
Who would you have there?
Who would I have? Again, I don't know why you can't just mold Foden into a number 8. Like why is...
Do you really believe... Did you see Foden yesterday?
Let's say if you're Southgate...
Or number 10, make Bellingham that number 8. Are you doing that, 4-2-3-1?
No, if you're Southgate, you're playing a midfield 3 and you know what Southgate wants from his players, what he wants from his system. So you've got to pick someone there. Instead of being... Say, for example, with Foden, we know that he doesn't really feel that Foden does the right job for him there. Yeah. So I think you're looking at a Gallagher, maybe a Longstaff, although he doesn't really get a call up, does he? Eze.
Will it be Phillips, though?
I love Eze, man. I've got to say that I would love to see that. I'd really like to see
That's
that.
A fair show.
That for me, that would be the most exciting idea if you could do Eze right.
That's why it won't happen.
You're 100%
because it's exciting, right? Like, and it's a bit risky, and it's a bit,
gets people excited. Fuck that.
Yeah, no chance. No. People might end up watching England. Yeah. No, I think if.
I will say, look, imagine if you'd kept Musiala around, if he was still English. Fucking hell, that midfield.
If he was still English.
See, now we're like on the border of it's just never going to happen. But if we didn't have sort of a bit of a weakness in that area of the pitch, Stones has done it for City, and it's never going to happen, is it?
But the thing is, the way Bellingham plays now,
Trent falls into that same little bit as like Foden for me in terms of very different players. But I just don't think Southgate would trust him. I don't think Southgate trusts Foden to be there, and I don't think he'd trust Trent to be there either. So he'll go with a boring option.
Pep doesn't really trust Foden there.
Yeah.
We've not seen Foden start consistently at 8 for Man City. I just don't. I don't think it really works there.
He's not at
8. Again, Rico Lewis. I find the idea of Trent in an England shirt in a midfield quite exciting.
Chance for Darwin, who lays it off to Salah. Oh, it's blocked by the defender. Liverpool putting it on quickly in the second half. Going to get the cross in. Good defending from Amrabat there. Man United do well, like they're just flooding the box with white shirts and cleaning up.
They're not giving Hojlund a sniff as well. I feel sorry for him, man. He's in no man's land up top. No service.
Amrabat is wrestling Mo Salah here. Like, that's not even football.
I know it always seems like we're going in on Man United, but I would hate to be a Man United fan this season because people might think that's Richard, your team are 10th in the league. But I tell you what, they've given me some exciting moments, man. True. Like my team have given me some exciting moments for win, lose or draw and for good or bad. But with Man United, it's like you go and watch them against one of their biggest rivals in Liverpool. And okay, things could change here. But for the most part, you're just watching your team with 11 men behind the ball in their own half.
That's why Andy Tate...
You don't think a 4-3 defeat at Copenhagen was exciting? No,
that Andy Tate video that went viral. The reason why he was so miserable, because you're thinking, why are you this miserable? You're 7th, 6th, it's not the end of the world, but it's he can see what's going on here. The bigger picture, and a lot of content creators don't seem to be able to see it, but he can. He's like, this is fucked. Like Newcastle and Man United, to your point, finished bottom of their Champions League groups, but the way we experienced it was so different. And look, maybe it's because we're never in the Champions League, but that 4-1 win against PSG was unreal. That performance against PSG away, where we were robbed, was unreal. Like we made a huge effort against AC Milan away from home. Man United, they were shit throughout. I've only seen Man United have one good game this season.
Remember, you were in a group. You were in a group of death as well.
Yeah.
And even then, let's call it for what it was. They weren't that good against Chelsea.
No,
they were less shit than Chelsea. Yeah. We were rubbish. They weren't great, but we were worse.
That was ever a nightmare.
Bro, even against Everton, they beat Everton 3-0. Everton should have fucking got a draw at least out of that game. They're a fascinating team to watch this season in terms of like almost like a social experiment of how bad you can be and still manage to pick up some points.
Without the points deduction, I think we're Everton about a point off.
They're point below them. Sean Dyche.
What is this Andy Tate thing everyone's talking? He's like a proper bad fan cam or something?
No, he had a review of the game where he was just really devastated. And like, obviously, you know, when you've seen your team get relegated multiple times, like many things have, it could seem to be
I thought he was on house arrest in Romania or something.
No, that's the other one. This is the Andy Tate who's not the traffic. But no, look, I rated it because it was raw. It was a great video by him. But equally, it's because the writing's on the wall and he could see like they're fucking going around.
I think it's pathetic. You're just crying. Your team's like 7th in the league. Like you're nowhere near. But all right, times are bad, but fucking hell, you're 7th in the league.
Yeah.
All right, you finished bottom of the Champions League group, but you still was in the Champions League.
He's been going through
and you're
for a while.
Crying.
He thought it was
try
bad
being a
with
Luton
Moyes.
fan. Like what the hell?
Yeah. They're also holding 2 trophies. They don't stop going on about it. They won 2 trophies last season.
Yeah.
2?
What's the second?
What was the other one?
They
won the League Cup. What are you
they
talking
got
about?
to the FA Cup final, got beat.
sorry,
They won the League Cup.
What are you crying? Like crying?
Was he crying?
Seriously,
Was he
crying?
No, he wasn't crying. But he was just miserable. But yeah.
But listen. I know I love bashing Man United as well. I've got so many Man United friends that are just annoying, right? But they're doing all right. I'm not saying they're playing good football. They're not. Liverpool are battering them. But they're missing so many key players.
I think the hope is what kills people, though. And I think with Ten Hag, a lot of them bought into the hype. And that's why he's still getting supported now, because a lot of them are like, I've said this much, I can't turn back now. You know what I mean?
I wasn't talking about in the bigger picture, by the way. I'm talking about in just this game.
Yeah, fair.
They haven't got
but even in the bigger picture,
Martinez.
to give credit where it's due, you've been really bad this season, and you still haven't been completely pulled away from in terms of if things start to go well, if these injuries that, to be honest, we're seeing most of these guys come back. But if they do come back,
They could have a go top 4.
No, I'm saying we've seen most of these injuries come back, and they're still talking about injuries.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if there's a miraculous uplift in form, they're within touching distance still. They could still be on for top 4. I'm at a point now where we could go on a really good.
I'm just saying, I don't know how much badder they are if they have Martinez in there, Casemiro's available, Mount's
Martinez
back,
had a shit few games earlier this season before he got injured, but he is a better defender than what they've got on the pitch right now.
Like, who's at the back right now? Is it Varane and Evans?
Yeah,
but they're missing Maguire, and he's been big for them after,
Yeah, but
Ten Hag wanting him out.
If Martinez is fit, it's Martinez and Varane. Let's be real.
I've got a question for you about Chelsea, lads. They did manage to win the other day. Unfortunately, Reece James suffered another injury after being made captain, and there's been a lot of jokes about him working from home, sort of like furlough. But there is a worry there, because this guy was one of the most talented right backs we've ever seen as a young age, and there's danger of him becoming the next Jack Wilshere. What are we saying about the future of Reece James, and where do you think it's going to go with him, Joey?
He's been a little bit less active than Jack Wilshere, to be honest. I remember there was times when Jack Wilshere was going through it and pulling up, but he was still having. Put it this way. Reece James has not started 3 matches in a row since 2021, I think, and we're nearly in 2024 now. So obviously it's really not good, and it's massively like. The main thing is, I think people from outside Chelsea's fan base will say, the Chelsea fans must be... Reece James don't choose to be injured, mate. I'm sure he'd be on the pitch if he could do. Obviously, there's a real underlying issue with these problems he's got. And the surgery, again, another very simple thing to go is, well, he should just have the surgery. We're always without him anyway. Why not just have the surgery? But you've heard people that are a lot more knowledgeable in this field than I am come out and say it's not as simple as have the surgery and your career's back on track. Some people that require the surgery that Reece James is being advised to maybe have don't end up walking properly after that.
To your point, with Sven Botman's recent injury at Newcastle, they've opted out of surgery to hope he could recover without needing it, because it is such a game changer for the game for them.
Yeah.
But is there also, because I've seen people talk about it, the fact that he rushes back though? And maybe he should take more time to kind of bed himself back in, because he's so eager to play. He's a Chelsea boy. He wants to help the team. I've heard that he kind of rushes back when really he needs to kind of just sit out and let the recovery process really take its place.
Definitely. Like, if you said to me now, he'll be ready by March, and I could have the option of going, let's just literally write the season off. Yeah, we're not going to be a completely different position if Reece James is in the team as to whether he's out. Although I do think he's our best player when fit and available. So if I could take the option now and say he just sits out the rest of this season, then I'd think it is a smart decision. Also, when you say about him rushing back, there's evidence to support the opposite of that. He turned down the England call up, didn't he? Gareth Southgate wanted him to come away with England. He said, I want to stick to my rehabilitation. So I think it's an easy thing to level it in, which I have in the past, but there is the evidence to say he's not rushing back. Maybe this is just the way it is. I know it's a completely different thing. This is to do with a cartilage in his knees, but a tactical genius here. I wouldn't mind seeing a position change for Reece as well.
Well, less running.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in centre mid. Like, he played there. He played there for Wigan, Chelsea, Wigan. We're about a like for like at the moment. No, but he played there for Wigan, and obviously he was very good there. He's actually he came on against Arsenal and was playing centre mid in that game. So
the level of running a right back does has got to be up there with the most in any position in football, and not just that. When I look at Reece James, and I obviously watch loads of different athletic sports, and the guys who are that muscular They're carrying probably more weight than is optimal for their frame in terms of like the sport he's doing is fucking running mainly. I look at someone like a Kamaru Usman in the UFC who's sort of similar built, and he had problems with his knees and basically got to a point where he couldn't train, as you've just said, in terms of running and stuff like that, and he just had to save himself for the event. How good can your cardio be when you're doing that?
It's heartbreaking, though, because when you speak about cardio there, right? Look at the game he had against Manchester City. Like, I got bantered for it, but he had Doku in his pocket in that game. And Doku
one of the best fullbacks in the world, mate.
Good form
here we go.
at that time.
What a tackle! Garnacho
Trent.
loses it because of Trent.
recovers.
Yeah.
That was a good ball.
Oh,
though.
that is class from Trent.
Do you know what? I was literally just about to say that I actually rate Reece James above Trent, and then Trent goes and does that.
Good job you didn't say that.
He wouldn't have got the opportunity of reaching on the pitch. No, but like, all honesty, it's just from a Chelsea, I can only give you like an emotional attached opinion on it. It's just heartbreaking, man, because we're looking at a player and we're like, you've been made the club captain, yeah? We all know, with all the investment, all the money we've spent, you're still the best player in our team. And not only are you the best in our team, you've come through the academy, and it means so much more when that is the case. So it's just gutting. If I had to put my money on it now, do we ever see Reece really starting, 30 games a season or something? On the track record, you'd have to say no, wouldn't you? Which is...
He's only 24, though.
At what point do you have to move on? Cause I look at that Chelsea team and I think you've got him one side, Chilwell the other, and Chilwell's injury record is no better than Reece James's, by the way. At what point do you have to say with at least one of them, we can't keep doing this? You can't sit on whatever 200 grand a week.
Well, the
and at
wild
the start
thing
of
is-
each season, we go, well, we hope you're going to start when we know you're not.
When you mention the wages, that's very valid. In terms of actually personnel, we sort of have moved on. And I'm not saying that Malo Gusto is a better player than Reece or a better option than Reece, but I tell you what, Malo Gusto is a right-back option if Reece James isn't there. If you compare it to the players we've got, I'm not saying the grand schemes, but if you compare it to the age profile of the players we've got, Malo Gusto's not a bad one. If you look over at the other side, we signed Cucurella for 67 million, 65 million, something like that. So if you're prepared to spend that sort of money, you better hope that is an alternative to Ben Chilwell.
This is the thing that blows my mind is Newcastle have gotten Livramento from the Chelsea academy.
Mate, he'd have been perfect.
Bro,
mate.
since
Can
he
play
came
either
into our
side
team,
as well.
He's one of the best fullbacks at a young age I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the first thing I thought was, you look like a Pep Guardiola fullback. You are the complete fucking player. You can do it all. He's been setting goals up. He's been making last-ditch tackles. He's got an older head on his shoulders.
Smart player.
If Reece James is fit and available, there's a conversation. I'd still edge towards Reece James, but there's a conversation. If both boys are at the club, you're going, who starts? The fact that Reece James is obviously hampered by injury constantly, and we've let go of Livramento, it's like...
That's the problem, because I get what you're saying about Gusto. Like, as far as like second choice right backs go, he's as good as anyone in the league.
Yeah.
The problem is he's going to play 35 games this season, and he's not as good as you would want your fullback to be. He's going to start 35 games this season, that's always going to be the hard thing when you've got Reece James as the captain.
Do you know what it does though? It makes Southgate's decision a little easier though. Because remember Euro 2021, it was an absolute mess. It was either Reece James was in because he just won the Champions League, or Kyle Walker was in. I think they played them one played against Scotland in the group.
he played Reece against Scotland.
Yeah, and then it was back to Walker, wasn't it? Or even Trippier might have had a go as well. Yeah, so at least it makes it a bit easier for Southgate, I guess.
Are we all sort of thinking that the odds of Reece James hitting the heights that we thought he could have, a modern-day Ashley Cole, highly unlikely now?
Yeah, of course, because you need that consistency. Whenever we mention any top player, we're not going, because in this game he was brilliant, or because in the Champions League final. You need a back catalogue of years and years of solid performances and consistency. But the reason I rate Reece so highly, right, is if you look at a player that comes out of the side for months on end and then comes back, takes one game normally, takes about one game to get back up to speed, and then becomes probably one of your best performers in the team, you go, God, you must be good. And it's mouthwatering as a Chelsea fan to think what you could be if you had that consistent run. But again, I'm never going to just go from what I want, and I'm going to try and speak with a level head. If we're going on what's happened in the past, I don't see him ever, at the minute, being able to get over these injury issues. So at the minute, no, he's probably not going to be able to fulfill that potential. But if you're just going on about his talent, easily good enough to be right up there as one of the best in the world.
Man United are just holding on, man.
Man United are holding on, but ultimately, if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I think they have not been anywhere. Man United have done exactly what they did to Newcastle. but Newcastle were actually breaking the door down.
Oh, yeah.
Liverpool aren't working the goalkeeper.
No clear-cut opportunities.
What we said at the start of the game was, Onana shit, work him make saves. Liverpool have made this far too easy on Manchester United, and I think, the argument is there of like, are Liverpool good enough, even though they're at the top of the league, to continue and to actually pull this off? And games like this are where you've got to prove it. And they have kept doing that this season. Whenever it was last seconds or they've managed to overcome struggles.
And Man United are really going to keep a clean sheet at Anfield.
They don't even...
With Johnny Evans in the
Here's the thing. Liverpool don't look close to scoring right
they don't.
now.
But this is the thing about Liverpool. The main, the concentration of talent in their squad is in that forward line. And this is... you can kind of see what's going to happen now. They're going to change that forward line a little bit. United obviously look tired. Varane's got no legs left. Johnny Evans is about 42.
Is that Gakpo woman?
Think about changing it. Apart from Gakpo, though, they ain't really got anyone on the bench, have they? Like, they've literally got
James McConnell.
Harvey Elliott to come on.
Harvey Elliott's look good when he comes off the bench. So
Gomez
him
as well.
and Gakpo could turn it around.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is, as a Spurs fan, this is beautiful. I want to draw. And the reason I want to draw is because if Liverpool drop points here, who have they got next? Arsenal. It's Arsenal and Liverpool next week. And if they drop points here, that means they have to be on it against Arsenal next week. Where is it? Anfield next week as well?
Anfield. It's at Anfield.
I would love a draw.
Late kick-off on a Saturday, last Saturday before Christmas. Every Scouser in Liverpool pissed off his nut cheering
Yeah,
them on.
23rd of December, Christmas Eve.
Are you sure you want a Man United win? Jesus. You didn't think of that, did you?
If they drop points, they're going to be up for it against you.
I mean, they'll be up for it. I mean, look, if they win, if they beat United today, they're top of the table. And we turn up next week and they go, right, declaration time. Let's put 3 points above Arsenal. Let's announce ourselves as champions.
True, that's another way.
How did you do at Anfield last season? Like, is the hoodoo gone? Because you used to go there and get battered.
We drew.
Yeah.
We drew that game.
We were 2-0 up.
leading. Yeah, we were 2-0 up.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was one of the
Ramsdale kept you in that
he
game.
Kept us in that one. That was it was one of the few in the running where it wasn't his fault that we threw it away. Yeah, he was incredible that day, man. The hoodoo isn't quite gone yet, but we should have won it there. Look, going into next week, the one thing I think has been interesting with Liverpool today, I look at their midfield, I'm not convinced at all. I think Szoboszlai's had a really quiet game, and when he has got in the box, he's not looked convincing. I don't think Endo progresses the ball well enough. I think if there's a place on the pitch you can beat that Liverpool team, it's midfield. And
Do you think that's Declan Rice going to go up there and just dominate?
Well, there's rumours Partey's fit. There's rumours his Partey's going to come back for that game. But I mean,
Why if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Why?
Well, I
just
think
slot
that
him
might be
straight
what
in there?
happens. I think Havertz has now been good enough that you go, okay, you keep things as they are. I love the idea of a Partey, Rice, Odegaard midfield.
Yeah.
So same
It
midfield
is
we
good.
played in the Community Shield. That in big games, I love that.
Is Havertz off fraud watch now?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been playing well. I've been watching him. I've had him on player cam. He's been playing well for
I don't know.
No, he's been playing well for Arsenal. I've actually been analysing. I think he's been playing well.
He's been playing well. He has been playing well. He's definitely been better.
Sometimes when you say well though, I find it hard to quantify because you know how Harry Maguire got a lot of plaudits and people were like, didn't he do well? For a guy who's like not really all there. Are we?
Havertz isn't off fraud watch. He's on probation from fraud watch. You know what I mean, he's got the tag on his ankle. He still might go back in.
So far, 4 goals, 1 assist.
I would imagine.
Do you know the funny thing about him, Joe? I've realised this as an Arsenal fan. You know when he was shit at the start of the season. He's no different now, except he's finishing his chances.
Yeah.
He can't pass a football. I've never seen an attacking midfielder before who can't pass a football. It's mental. He's a great runner, gets around the pitch, really good off the ball. That's what's
He's
really
technical
surprising.
though. He's quite technical.
He's techie, and I'll tell you what, he's showing his feet a little bit more now. I think at the start of the season he looked scared to do anything, but he's showing a few tricks and stuff now. But he's scoring goals.
Are those 4 goals in the league?
Yeah, 4 in the league. I think
So he's got more than Jesus in the league.
Yeah, he's got 1 in the Champions League as well. He's got an assist in the league. A couple of the goals have been key moments as well.
How has he got more goals than
the one you
Jesus in the
think
league?
about,
He
obviously.
started
look,
more games than Jesus.
it doesn't matter because it was ruled out, but obviously against Aston Villa, he scored. Was it the equaliser?
Yeah,
right,
it would have been. It would have
How
been.
do you view him, Joey? You must have a weird relationship with Havertz. Like, he scored. He should be held up as like a hero in your club's history, right? Scored a winner in the Champions League final, and now he's playing for Arsenal.
They can't stand him.
Doing
They can't stand him.
No. Do you know what? Like Havertz. Look, Chelsea fans for the most part. I mean, Josh don't mind him. We don't really like Mason Mount now, but Havertz isn't one we really feel like that about.
Why don't you like Mason Mount?
Why though?
Because he jumped ship.
This is what I mean. It's when they sell it. It's because you sold him.
He jumped ship. He wanted to leave. He wanted to leave. He got offered about 50 grand less a week to stay at Chelsea than he got offered by Man United. And everyone goes, oh, well, you know, Man United.
Wait, come on.
50 grand's a lot of money.
Are there not some things that you just have to make? Like, he's a Chelsea boy who won the Champions League, assist in the final. Like, can you not overlook if he moves on, like, to Man United? Nah?
I could overlook it if, let's say, for example, Chelsea are doing really well.
Okay.
And this is just me being honest, by the way. Like, I could dress it up and try and make myself look better. I get that anyone that's not a Chelsea fan thinks you're a massive knob when I'm saying this, yeah? But I'm just being honest with you. Because Chelsea aren't doing well, it just feels like you're an academy product. I'm telling you now, if Chelsea weren't doing well, John Terry don't jump ship. And that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So you're an academy product. You came through. You would have probably been the captain at this point.
He did flirt with Man City a little bit, though, didn't he, back in 2009?
Terry.
A little bit.
Yeah, Terry did he? That ain't all he flirted with back in 2008.
Do you not think, though, how much money did you get from Mason Mount?
55 million or something?
From the outside, you fucking smashed that.
Yeah.
From the outside, you did exactly what you should have done with Mason Mount. I think you got his best years. I know he's, what is he, 25, 26?
Well, let me give you a little stat on that, right? Cole Palmer has now got more open play assists than Mason Mount did in a Chelsea shirt in 97 less games. So
Joey's got a little notepad on
listen, records are for DJ. Yeah.
What an obscure stat.
Not a notepad, I've got them tattooed on my arm here.
No, mate, I think you've done the right thing, Mason Mount. I think you got good years out of him. I think he looks injury prone now. I think he looks like one of those players that played a bit too much football and they're a bit too young. And what's he done at Man United?
Now we say about Lewis Miley. See? Playing too much.
To answer the question about Havertz, though, I don't think Chelsea fans massively dislike Havertz or anything like that. I think the problem with Havertz, and we do definitely have the sympathy for him, is obviously.
I thought that was wide. I thought that was in.
Techers, man. Tread.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look
Lifting
at him.
the
He's
crowd.
such a scout. He loves it. Let's go. He's G'ing up the crowd.
I love that.
He looks like their boy today. He does look like the main man today.
Swerving away.
He's becoming more of a hero for them in this
Trent's
more
having a big season.
advanced role. One thing I will say, though, looking at the lineup, right, down that left side, Liverpool looks so weak. You don't remember how you'd have Robertson and Mane to worry about one side, Trent and Salah the other.
Yeah.
It's a lot of reliance on this right side because Tomiskas and Diaz are having a shit game. They're both doing nothing here. Gakpo's come on, try to change it up a little bit, but that left side looks incredibly weak by comparison.
Again, frustrated now. Swipes like that.
Because they're not able to break this team down, and they're really lacking a bit of a magician. I know Salah's usually that guy, but remember back in the day when Salah might not have been having this good game, as Craig's often said about the other two, one of them would be able to help out.
Yeah, well, wasn't Szoboszlai supposed to be that guy from midfield?
He's not doing much yet.
I know he came off, but well, you're supposed to be that guy though.
We're over an hour in and Marcus Rashford's still not been brought on for Man United.
He looks miserable on that bench.
Is he complete? He's fully fit.
I think so.
I'm sure.
Wide?
I'm sure that they'll have reasons for he's not 100%, whatever.
They're in.
Surely.
Gotta be.
Hojlund! He's got to score.
Oh no! That was the opportunity for Hojlund.
Mate, now he deserves the meme. Now I can't defend you.
He's got to score that. That's a nice 1-2. That's a good bit of football there.
This is what the game plan is all about. Is get you one chance.
I think Jackson puts that away. No.
But you know what? He might have, and that's bad enough. Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to cut him some slack and just say 1-on-1, one of the hardest keepers you're going
he hits it straight at him, though.
Yeah, he does.
He hits it straight to his chest. I don't mind if you miss a shot and it's just wide and you've tried to slide it in the corner. When you hit it straight at the keeper, it's a cowardly thing, in my opinion, of just get it on top. You're an £85 million player, and I don't expect you to be as good as that yet, but fucking hell.
And if you've been banging goals and then all of a sudden you miss that, you can be let off.
Yeah.
14 games in the Premier League so far, and you've not scored.
Do you know what it is? That's Peter Crouch territory when he went turned up at Anfield and he didn't score until Christmas. This is I didn't realise he hadn't scored a Premier League goal yet.
The point of parking the bus, though, Mourinho. Shit! That nearly went through. Mourinho style is when you get that one chance, that is a one-on-one. You cannot hit it straight at his chest. Fucking hell. Just to be clear on the stats, 21 shots to 5. 4 on target to 2 on target, which shows how wasteful Liverpool have been and frustrated, and they've been shooting from angles which were never going to amount to anything in any way, really, a lot of them.
Oh, here we go. The boy wonder.
I actually think that Liverpool are looking a little bit better since them changes they've made there. Salah you can see has come a little bit more sensible now.
Yeah. 70% possession to 30%. One thing that is interesting about Ten Hag in how he's sort of downed Rashford is, in big games like Bayern Munich and Liverpool, Rashford usually turns up in those.
Yeah.
And yet you've not started him. I think for Rashford, look, I know he's just signed a new deal, but he's got to be thinking, look, if you're going to play Garnacho ahead of me, I'm off soon. Like, fuck this.
Mate,
He's got to be.
He just signed a new contract.
There's a few there that'll be thinking that. There'll be a few there sort of talking to agents and going, honestly, do you think Ten Hag goes soon? Because if not, I want to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously,
United,
Casemiro and Varane are linked with moves away to the Saudi League already.
Anthony wants to hope Ten Hag don't go.
Yeah. That's good football. Good tackle from Van Dijk. Man United actually coming back into on the counter-attack a little
They are.
Yeah. And to be fair,
The game's opened up a lot.
if you're... I'm happy to criticise Ten Hag, but like, if they were to nick it, it would be...
That's good.
Onana.
Showed that really, shouldn't it?
Onana always passes it straight out into like
Mate.
the worst place, doesn't he? Bless him.
We were saying, what was it? The Chelsea game, wasn't it? Onana, like, Cole Palmer, great goal, comes out of nowhere sort of thing. And me and Brian just looked at each other like, are we going to say it? Are we going to say it?
I mean, it was rolling in, like, when a child goes bowling and they use that little thingy, like,
Yeah.
and it was literally like some kid had put it in like that.
Anthony
I
in
stopped
Spain.
using that like months ago.
Andy, what are you going to do?
Oh,
Have a go.
Here we go.
because Liverpool are bombing forward, Man United are going to get chances.
On the transition, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give Man United their props today. I'm gonna give it to them today because they haven't been steamrolled. They actually haven't. Liverpool have been the better team, definitely. They're at home. We expect them to be, but we expected Man United to get pummeled today. Everyone expected them to get pummeled today.
20 minutes to
and
go,
they are in the game.
Yeah.
They're in the game. Hojlund could have just nicked them a goal.
But now's where they have to capitalise on it, like, and show some ambition, and it's whether or not that'll actually pay off. Rashford, though, big game, big moment. This could settle well for him.
The game suits him as well. This transition play back and
Starting
forth.
to open up.
It really suits him.
This is a scary sub. If I'm a Liverpool defender now, tired of watching these fresh legs come on.
What this? Game 7, 0 goals, 0 assists, 2 shots on target. Okay.
You know what, right? The Ten Hag fans, if they pull anything off, would be, mate, he's getting a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
They get anything out of
The
this.
comments
A
section.
win at Anfield? Yeah.
The comment section of this
That's worth
video.
its weight in gold.
I love it.
Hojlund, man, he could have just wrote himself in history.
This for me, though, this is where I'm at with Ten Hag. I'm so sure that the bloke's an absolute flop. I'm in Ollie territory with him, where I'm like, go on, son, get yourself another 5 games.
Yeah.
Go on, you do for me, lad. Like, because it's obvious he's shite.
But then, if we look at it the other way, which is definitely not what Man United fans want, we say about them staying in things. In the league, they're technically staying in. They're hanging in there in case something changes. Against Newcastle, they played worse, right? Man United played worse at St James's Park than Chelsea did at St James's Park. You beat us 4-1.
Yeah, it should have been
You beat
about
Man United 1-0. They've played bad in this game. It's 0-0 still.
Do you know
in
what?
the Arsenal
You've
game,
had ambition. You've tried to beat us.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. It's a tiny win if you'd even call it that. But you can admit that one thing Ten Hag's managing to do this season is be bad and just about stay in it. Now, it only matters if you stay in it and then you pull something off. And so far this season, they haven't been able to do that. But against Arsenal, in this match, even against City, they didn't get done by like 4 or 5 goals, which run of play was suggesting they were going to at one point.
Even the games they win. That's how they beat Brentford. They stayed in it and got late winners.
He's the Joe Biden of football manager.
We're looking at it in the wrong way
It's
here.
amazing. That.
What is the solution? No, I think we asked it in the first time. I don't think anyone really gave a manager. Who replaced him? Who gets a tune out of this?
I said De Zerbi.
Oh, you
no
did
one cared.
I agree with you. I agree.
Honestly, I think the Potter thing kind of makes sense. If they are going after Dan Ashworth, that's the only reason I say
Anyone
it.
without an ex-Brighton manager? Or,
I'm telling you, after what happened with
Solskjaer.
Potter at Chelsea,
They wonders.
the fans won't have patience for Potter.
The only reason I
They won't
say
have
it is the Dan
patience.
Ashworth link. If they do get Dan Ashworth, Potter and Dan Ashworth, like
Do you know the day?
Brighton,
Do you know the day? Sorry, it's a bit off topic, but do you know the day I knew that Potter was gone from Chelsea? I knew that you weren't going to be the man for us. We were saying he's too nice. And you know, like managers, I get that in the modern day, like you read stuff and whatnot, but you'd definitely been reading the comments of Potter's too nice, and Potter's got no backbone because he's doing an interview with, I think it was Emma Hayes, and it was at a Chelsea night, and he went, and we're gonna win the fucking Champions League. And the way you said it, it was like, mate, that was tragic. It just didn't even suit you at all.
It's such a Brent thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's rock.
Nice, am I?
Play the... Oh,
I just F-bombed them.
Anthony just lost his shit on someone on his team just now. I don't know who it was. He just started screaming.
This left
He's
back,
the most
I don't rate
dislikable
him.
player in the league.
I'm not impressed so far.
Who, Anthony?
He's not. But I'll be real. See today, the other side of the game today, and I think this is why he puts him in the team because he's such a negative manager. But the defensive side of the game, Anthony does. It's just what they signed him for. He doesn't do. He's shit going forward.
£80 million worth of tracking back.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a right back? Is that the answer? Is he just a fullback?
Who, Anthony?
Anthony,
He's putting some good defensive displays today. I've been watching him, but that's not his
Do you
fucking
know,
job.
I don't think there was any Man United fan when they splashed out 90 mil, whatever it was on him, that thought after a year we're going to be going, is he a right back?
That does 100 step
You
over.
know, I have to say, right, I was a bit fooled by it at the start. Like, there was a few games early on where I was like...
Mate, Arsenal straight away came in and scored, didn't they?
And you know when certain players, and I have to admit, right, I think we're all subconsciously taking on data that we're not realizing influences our decision, and one of them is like hairstyle, football boots, like all these little things that we've seen before. Where like, what's this decision? Like the way he acts, the way he behaves, and he had this arrogance and confidence. And I was like, must be fucking good.
Like, remember that fucking, what was it, like the dribble he did in a circle in like a Europa League game where he just drags the ball around? The most pointless fucking skill move of the whole thing.
Yeah,
But,
he had a few of those moments where I think I was just affected by his sort of persona.
Yeah.
But he is Brazilian at the end of the day. I know it's hard to believe looking at that. But Brazilians are like that, aren't they?
He plays Scottish, man. The way he plays football, he plays like a Scottish rather than Brazilian.
Listen,
He wishes he was McTominay.
in terms of money spent, would he and Mudryk be up there as like two of the worst transfers of all time in the Premier League? Like, what's that, like 150 between them?
He was more expensive, was he?
All time, the only thing is because obviously the price of transfer fees, they fluctuate. Like, 50 million doesn't seem like the most at the moment, but Fernando Torres, when he was bought in for 50 million, that wasn't looked upon well.
Does that mean Andy Carroll in modern day would be like, what, 80 mil? 80 mil?
Andy
90
Carroll,
mil?
that'd be like 90 mil, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's probably 100 bills, something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like,
Bobby
they're right.
Maino, reverse ball.
Mano plays it in.
Oh.
Surely they got to get a shot away.
nah,
No, they don't.
yeah,
It's
nah.
cleared.
Man United,
This
they're
could
in
be,
this.
you know, this could
They're
be.
in this. I'm telling
could be
you,
a
they're in
1-0.
this. It's not good for Liverpool. They need to get that goal.
That
Because I feel like the
clearance
crowd's going to be getting edgy now.
That was so bad from Onana there. Did you see, like...
Oh, here we go.
Darwin
Nunez.
Nunez.
Got a pass.
Touch, and it's in.
This is it. The goal. Oh, great defending.
And Onana clatters 3 defenders in the process.
If they concede there, that's completely Onana's fault. He could have kicked it anywhere, and he just kicked it straight to the side and then had to sprint back to his goal line.
Who is it?
Don't-
Who made the block? Dallo or Varane?
Is this a foul, lads? I'm just asking the question. I couldn't really...
Liverpool think it is.
It's gone in that fast that it did look like just like a coming together. It did not look like a foul to me.
No, there was a block there.
All right. Darwin's control isn't great here, but I think it comes to him and it was difficult.
Is that Amrabat?
I mean, ball's going away, isn't it? Onana does sort of...
Great defender. Dallo.
Dallo, yeah.
We've seen fouls get given for after the ball has been played, and like we just sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Trent heads it back in, and there's holding.
That is.
It is.
Oh, it's a pinball fucking in the corner. Diaz tries to cross to.
That was clever by Van Dijk.
Wow.
Oh! The feet!
Penalty.
Yeah.
Fucking skill.
feet on that.
Big man. Well done.
United's defending is comical. How have they managed to have that many touches in their box? They've got centre-backs doing pirouettes in their box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
was clever, though.
mental.
All part of the plan, isn't it? 10 minutes away from a clean sheet.
Look at this.
This! You got Kanate doing that on your penalty spot, mate.
Like wow.
I'd have cut it back, rounded the goalkeeper.
I think Liverpool have totally not exploited the lack of quality in goal from Onana. Like they've just been too many speculative efforts that weren't like they haven't brought it close enough and forced the issue. And to be fair to Arsenal, they did a really good job of doing that, like breaking you down and just forcing you to submit to them earlier.
If they don't win, I think, regardless of occasion, it's a massive opportunity missed, especially with the results from today.
It comes back again to that thing of like, who's going to win this league? Who wants to grab hold of this and try and win this league? It's an interesting one because we've got
Chelsea had a good win
Nunez
yesterday.
off.
I think
Nunez has come off.
Nunez.
I've got to say.
Was that a good game from Nunez? Was that a game that makes him look like
he was
Liverpool's number 9?
anonymous.
But what I will say is Harvey Elliott coming on, he has been a bit of a game changer for them recently. I think Man United should be a bit scared of him in terms of like he's really decent off the bench. I don't know about starting him, but he's full of energy, belief. He's got that like play on the school ground type of attitude of him. But I think he's only 18 or something. And as we're saying now, Liverpool have got a lot of goals in the last 15 minutes.
Is it fair to say that for all the shots Liverpool's had, Man United's had the best chance in this game?
Yep.
Yeah, that one from Hojlund straight at
Hojlund should be beating himself up about that later. Like that's not good enough for a player of like what he attempts to be in his career. Like,
well, even if
I was going to say quality,
it was on target, right? It was on target, but it was worth risking it going off target by just not putting it in the easiest sort of area for the goalkeeper. Don't put it high and straight at him. Put it low, aim for a corner. Even if
he made it. If you could say what's the easiest shot to save right now, that was it.
Anthony, all nice.
Look at that.
Anthony takes it away from
Trent.
Trent.
Surely.
Lay up. Nah, there's no one there. They're back in numbers now.
That was good.
This would be the worst feeling from Liverpool fans if this goes in.
It was good from Anthony, but it weren't great from Trent, was it? Like,
No, Trent let him off, didn't he?
Easy.
Southgate's watching that going, no chance.
Yeah.
No chance. You're getting in my back foot.
Lads, I know there's been a lot of Man United criticism today, but you're not give a bit of credit though. I mean, the defending has been, pretty decent. When they got Johnny Evans in defence.
I think ultimately though, like
0-0 at Anfield.
They've played with 11 men behind the ball for a vast majority of the game.
But done it well. Huh?
But they have done all right, yeah. I think it's a combination of they've been dedicated and disciplined, but Liverpool have really been exposed for, like, they need someone who can pick the lock a bit here and not, it's always on Salah's shoulders. I think maybe we're seeing a reason why that we might look at an Arsenal who split their goals more evenly.
Yeah, but I just think for Man United, again, like I said before, the trauma of 7-0, like a historic stain on the club the last time they're here, to come away with a clean sheet would be pretty credible.
Yeah, it would. But more than that, I think like I was convinced, and I still am to an extent, that these players are just not playing for the manager. But today, on today's evidence, it looks like they are trying for their manager.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because this is the thing though. Some games they can do this, and like against Bayern they try to do this. Really, like Bayern just couldn't be fucked.
Yeah, Bayern didn't get out of second gear.
But Bayern were just in like snooze. Do you know what I mean? They were coasting against them. But they can like sit back and park the bus. But again, it's like, how much credit do I want to give a Manchester United side that's worth £1 billion spent on the talent involved, and we're clapping them for parking the bus at Anfield?
But I don't think you should measure this game of whether they're playing for the manager. This is Liverpool away. This is the biggest game of their season. I don't care who the manager is. They should be playing
for pride.
For pride.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I think in terms of playing for the manager, the real stark thing for me and the concern if I was a United fan, I'd be going, right, who's playing for the manager? Who's on the pitch right now? Anthony, Hojlund, these kind of guys. If I was a Man United fan, the players I'd want on the pitch are Sancho, a Rashford. That's your talent, and they're not on the pitch because they don't track back because they don't like this manager.
Crossing.
Yeah.
Mo Salah's on the edge.
If I'm not playing for the
Here we go.
He's got to hit that first.
Got to hit it.
Liverpool probing though. They're probing.
Joe Gomez with the winner, is it?
It's when you see defenders on the edge of the box taking shots like that, it drives me fucking crazy. It's so stupid. It just lacks any real intelligence. Like, who do you think you are, Fabian Shaw? There's only one. Do you know what I mean?
If you're not playing for the manager, you're quite gutted, aren't you? Because it's like, we're not quite bad enough to get him sacked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And what's gone on behind the scenes in the dressing room and different falling out with players aren't really getting him sacked. So it's like we're just sort of plodding along. Like,
I think that's a great point though. Like that's how I look at this Man United team. Of like, they've got enough quality to nick enough points to remain in the top 10 and potentially be in the Europa spot, maybe Champions League. Like I don't think they'll get Champions League this season, to be honest, but. They're just, that ain't what Ten Hag was brought in for. You still have to sack him at some point if it carries on like this.
Do you know when we find out whether or not Ten Hag is getting sacked at all, regardless of where he finishes this season, is by the end of January. If Jadon Sancho hasn't gone in the January transfer window, that means the board know that Ten Hag's on borrowed time and know that he's fighting for his job. If Jadon Sancho goes, regardless of how things are going on the pitch, Ten Hag's got the whole season. Definitely.
Where do you reckon he goes? Getafe on loan or...
just sticking with the others. I think it'd be Dortmund.
Go back to Dortmund.
Just to be clear we were having a debate earlier about top 4 and what we expect to happen. Generally speaking, I think Aston Villa were considered favourites to finish in 4th place, and obviously this will impact Man United's hopes as well. Looking at Villa's points tally for the entire year of 2023, they would be second to Manchester City only.
But yet, Unai Emery's not as good as Arteta, right?
81 points it is. Only Man City have more. So that is absolutely outrageous.
unbelievable.
That table you got in front of me there is not a table that I like very much at all.
Where were Chelsea in that? 15 or something?
Fuck no.
Bottom. No, it is.
It doesn't go that far down, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
No, that was a joke. But no, so I think it's pretty. Villa are serious favourites for that top four, and then Man United would have to get in ahead of them, Spurs and Newcastle. For me, top four should be minimum for Manchester United with the investment that they made in the summer. None of us in the predictions were saying
Here we go.
Shoot.
Man United wouldn't get top four from memory. So
that's one of the reasons you've got to go with Villa as well, right? Because when we were looking at Tottenham, for example, yes, Postecoglou was doing a brilliant job, and I still think he is doing a really good job, but there isn't the history to go on of going, but he'll be able to sustain this. But that year table would tell you that out of the managers them fighting for it, Unai Emery is sustaining it. He's done it over the course of a year, so that's why you got to make them favourites, really, for that spot.
I think it was to Aston Villa, though. If they do get top four, I would worry for them that he won't be poached. Especially when some, vacancies at Manchester United, maybe Chelsea, if things don't work out with Poch. Bigger. I'm going to go back to what you said at the start of the stream when you said he's Aston Villa manager. He's not, man. They had Steve Bruce, Dean Smith. That was their caliber. David O'Leary back in the day. They are doing well to have him. I would worry if I was a Villa fan, because if Emery goes, this isn't going to be sustained. This is... it's a bit of an equivalency to when we had Benitez. I know he hasn't done much since he left Newcastle, but we were so lucky to have him. And we knew that when we lost him, I
think you're onto something there. I think, but
Sean, this is it.
Surely they're appealing for a penalty. Liverpool are demanding a penalty. Doesn't look like they're going to get it.
Half-hearted appeals.
We'll find out. Gakpo in behind.
Offside. Is it?
Oh, and Liverpool are demanding a penalty for a handball. We are going to go to VAR in the 85th minute, and there's an elbow. Hand, it bounces up.
Unnatural position.
It's in a natural position, isn't it? I don't think that's a penalty,
really
is it?
Do anything about it.
Do you know one thing you might say is there's a hint of does he control it? I don't know, but I wouldn't say it's a penalty.
Nah, it doesn't move towards
that. And even once it hits, he just keeps it there as if to say, look, it's not.
It's low on his arm as well. I think it's below the sleeve, which is their little rule now, isn't it?
One prediction we made at the start of the season, I say it was Michael, was you didn't appreciate the signing of Declan Rice. Have you changed your mind?
I'll never change my mind on Declan Rice. That traitor snake. With 3 Ireland caps. So you'll never get that out of me, Brian. I'm sorry.
I love it. Double down, son.
Here you go.
Liverpool have breaking through, but doing nothing with it. Again, Liverpool have just been poor today, man. They've had all of the ball, and they just haven't been good enough.
If Arsenal do go on to win the league, though, Rice is going to be the reason why. Even in the match against Aston Villa, I was just looking at him and I was like, you have got that elite superstar mentality about you, even in a match that they didn't win in.
He's a Rolls Royce.
And again, like we said about Livramento being let go by Chelsea, Rice.
Yeah. Well, he's had good academy training. That's why he's at the level he's at.
He's a Rolls Royce player. But he's also. I remember watching him at West Ham, and he was the whole club. He was the whole team. He carried everything. He was their team, and I was like, he's going to come to Arsenal. Maybe he'll come in and out of the team a little bit. He'll be complimented by other players. Mate, he's carrying Arsenal. He's our team now. I honestly, it's quite scary how within the space of a few weeks he's coming. And I'm like, I don't know what we look like without you.
He's been scoring last-minute winners.
He's broke the 100 million curse. Hasn't he?
Yeah.
You've got the 2 Chelsea midfielders. Everyone who's had 100 million spent them in the Premier League. It's not worked out.
What about Grealish?
Look, sure, that's mad.
Grealish hasn't not worked out, but he hasn't worked out. If you know what I mean. He's not. Grealish.
Second season winning the treble. We played a lot of games.
Yeah, but
he played a lot of games.
This might be sure gone, by the way.
I agree. Grealish is a good player. I think he hasn't flopped anywhere near the other ones. He's actually been a good player, but I just mean has he been the player that they hoped he was? I don't think so.
Mate, when we speak about Declan Rice like that and we look at what Jude Bellingham's doing, it's criminal that a lot of us don't think that England are winning this next tournament, isn't it?
I know. It's because of Southgate, though, isn't it? Is it not?
England, but that's why people think that.
Sackless Southgate.
We got Bayern Munich striker, right? Who has he got the most goals in the Champions League this season? Something like that. We've got Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Saka on one side. The amount of talent in that team.
I could also go back to 2006 though and reel off Gerrard, Lampard, Beck. I mean, you've always had great squads.
You called him Bayern Munich striker. You can't even say Harry Kane.
What I will say with Southgate though is I know everyone in this country, not a single person seems to like him, but do you really think you're going to get? Maybe a better one, yeah, but like the caliber of international managers, you're not going to be getting a Pep or a, or a.
Could have stats.
Well, I mean, if Ancelotti's going for the Brazil job, I'm not saying he'd go to England.
But don't
if you
England
could get
usually
an
don't
Ancelotti-
England usually
Why
stay
not?
English though? Like after the Capello disaster, don't you usually stay with your Roy Hodgsons, your Sam
Yeah,
Allardyce?
but
Not
what?
anymore.
Because we have one bad foreign manager.
Yeah.
Like,
Not for me. Like picking the next England manager for me, I'd like them to have experience of the English game. I'd like them to have experience of managing in the
Give me a
Premier
name, man,
League.
because I have a feeling.
Jose Mourinho.
I think he's too high caliber manager going to international management.
What
I
about
think
Sean Dyche?
that's more. Yeah, that would be more the standard, I would think.
When
You know?
Everton get absolutely raided by more lawsuits, he might be out of a job.
Alan Pardew. No, joking.
Are we talking about Sean Dyche for
What about,
England?
what about,
Really?
what about
Really?
okay, look,
Man,
I know what you're saying, but Gareth Southgate, bro.
Lads, the last time
Yeah, I don't rate him either, but-
last time there was a vacancy for the England job, Steve Bruce got an interview. So
Oh,
I mean,
don't
come
even.
on.
Yeah, they're really happy.
No, he did. Yeah, back
we,
when Allardyce got it.
we were in a very different. I mean, look, here's one you boys won't know. What about Eddie Howe?
Just sack
No,
off the England.
no,
manager.
no,
Why
no.
do they have to be English? Whoa,
No,
that's
I
what I'm
agree with you.
saying.
I agree with you, Craig. I agree, mate.
I think there has to be look. If you look at English managers in the past, or just general managers, like the level, you can't be in Europe as a manager in terms of like Champions League football manager. Like they're not going to quit on their club career. You need someone who's not quite going to get that, but is also better than Southgate. That's why I thought Dyche is smack bang in the middle of. He's never going to be a top six
The
manager.
only thing is he
Get
plays
Jose,
he
man.
plays hideous football. Dyche, and Jose won't do it.
No, but Dyche
think
plays hideous
Jose
football.
would, you know.
Dyche plays hideous football with no transfer budget for Burnley and Everton. Like, give him good players. He may actually play better football.
Maybe.
Give him good players. He's playing false nines.
I mean, the guy's 1 point behind Man United
And
right
to be
now.
fair, like, I've watched Everton a few times this season.
They're
They've
good.
obviously wasted a lot of chances. And I'm not going to sit here and go just because they're on the back of 4 wins or whatever. Oh, no, they're brilliant. But it's not hideous. Like,
No.
I don't know if it's hideous this season.
They're
like,
horrible to play against. I'll give them that. They are an outfit and a unit, and they're well coached. They're well coached. The fact that he's turned chicken salad into chicken shit into chicken salad. I don't know how the fuck he's done it because he's barely spent a penny.
Dwight McNeil. He's been
Dwight
pretty good for
McNeil
them.
looks
Yeah.
like one of the best wingers in the league at
Yeah.
the moment.
Better be Rob Edwards to be England manager. Yeah? Doing well at Luton. No, Rob
God, this is terrible, lads. This is
United have done it. I can't believe they've done a number on Liverpool.
not only
like
have they
this.
done it. Like this has just been horrendous football from start to finish.
It's been a
Done
dreadful
yet,
match.
boys. Not-
Like,
it has been a
awful.
poor match. It has
Even
been a poor-
I
when
came from Newcastle for this.
this is the thing
fucking
about Man United. Even when they play good football sides, they drag them down to their level and beat them with experience. Like it's like
yeah.
what I'm watching. Like this has been awful.
Is this how big of a win is this for Man United getting 0-0 then? Is it like a proper like galvanise their season sort of thing, turn it around,
He might
or
have saved his job. He might have saved his. If they'd have got 7-0 today, I think he might have been gone by.
because not one of us gave them a chance for a draw. No one around this table at the start of the game, right?
I think I predicted.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you?
I said that. I said they could get
I
draw.
thought
Oh, no,
Liverpool-
no.
Oh, fair.
I thought Liverpool would thump them today.
Oh, that's
That was 2 feet. wasn't
yeah.
double
He
foot.
didn't
That
leave the
Rashford.
floor there, Rashford.
They haven't even. Rashford has not been in the game since he's come on. They have not put the ball down the left channel at all.
it?
True.
Yeah, they had a touch.
I said it'd be a scary sub as well. Done nothing.
But just to put into perspective, though, they put a little stat thing up on the screen. 11 games at home this season, and they've won all of them. Liverpool. They haven't even drawn at home this season. So this is you have to just give Man United the props and go, well, you know, they didn't come here and play progressive football.
If-
They didn't try and win the match really, but to come out of Anfield with a point.
If in the next 4 minutes Liverpool score, that could be a huge thing for the title. A bit like when Rio Ferdinand did the last minute win against Liverpool.
It could
back in
definitely
the day.
happen as well. Liverpool been doing it all season.
They
last
got a free
It'll
kick
be a
now.
moment.
They got a free kick now. Everyone in the box.
A bit
It probably will happen.
Do you know what-
you know,
do you know what actually, no, I was going to say a Origi against Everton, but that doesn't matter because they didn't win the league that year. So never mind. That doesn't work.
The thing is because Liverpool have been limited with what they've been able to do. Like they've been lumping it into the box and
Here we go.
in. Headed over. Having Varane and Evans, even though you know they're not what they were at one point, they're big guys, right? And they're going to eat that food and drink all day, really. And a lot of the shots they've been having have been miles out. Like Liverpool just haven't done a good enough job in breaking Man United down. Like credit to Man United, they've done everything they've tried to do is just make it hard for them, but. I think Liverpool are lacking that cutting edge here.
I just still can't get over that centre-back partnership of Varane and Evans. One's won 5 Champions Leagues and a World Cup, and the other is fucking Johnny Evans. It's a weird one, right?
Did Johnny Evans win the?
title?
Yeah, didn't he win it with
He's-
Fergie when he was at Man United before?
Did not win it with Leicester.
Did he though? No.
Was he at Leicester when they won it?
Nah. he wasn't.
Nah, that was Wes Morgan
That was
and
Huth. Who got the Huth?
Good old Hoof.
Ex-Chelsea.
The last time Man United
Legend.
won the title, Grand Theft Auto just came out. 5. Now we're bringing next one out.
I still can't believe Leicester are in the bloody Championship. What the hell? That's mad when you think about it, isn't it?
They'll be back.
They're doing quite well though.
They shouldn't even be there.
Counter-attack
They
from
won the
Manchester
league
United
7
in the
years
last
ago.
few minutes.
Last chance of the game. Come on,
Chance to
Rashford.
do something. Marcus Rashford, 30 yards out, moving into the box. Runs into a brick wall.
Get in the box. Get in the
Nice
box.
1-2. Cross it! Oh, I love the drama. We'll love it.
I love it.
Hey, look at Salah now. Watch Salah. Salah.
Mo Salah.
Is
Here
a
we
problem.
go.
No,
He's not going to
they
do
crowded
shit
him
with
out.
this.
They crowded him out. Good play from Dallo, man.
Liberal throw.
But he's
The passion.
He's got to get a booking for that.
yeah, he got one. He got one.
He's been
Got
good
one.
this year,
I love
though.
the passion though. Oh, is
Has
it
he
red?
gone?
Oh, it's a red
Oh!
card for Varane.
No,
Varane sent
for
off.
Dallo.
Oh, Dalot, sorry. I didn't realise
But
he'd already
the
been booked.
No, the ref's taking the
The
piss,
ref showed
man.
the card to Varane. I thought it was him.
It would just be Johnny
No,
Evans
but
on his
I'm
own.
sorry, I don't agree. That's a piss take.
Did he have one already? Did he have a yellow?
No,
already?
but even if he did, come on, man.
He yelled at him. You can't yell at him. Come on.
If he didn't get in his face
It
or
don't
anything,
change
he's-
anything. There's 2 minutes left.
No, of course, but I'm just like, that's just a bit of passion. Like we see that all the time. People complain about not getting throw-ins.
What's he do?
It came off Salah, didn't it?
I mean, he did go mental, like, but yeah.
No, he hasn't like.
Yeah, he went mental again and again.
but a red.
He didn't. Yeah, but it was 2 yellows, mate. I mean, that's the rules.
Got to be nice to these refs.
The face change when he realises he's getting a red.
I'd be fuming because they just showed it came off Salah anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Look, I'd be
Still going, mate.
Here we
Still
go.
going.
Of course, I'll be raging.
what's mad is if Liverpool do score in the last
Imagine.
seconds, the narrative is
That was our fucking throw-in.
Dalot fucked
Yeah,
it.
Dallas fucking for us.
Whereas in reality, you've got 60 seconds left, right? Like you should be able to see the last minute of a game out. It's not like it's another 15 minutes to play, which would be a completely different story. To be fair, Liverpool have
it's on
been
a
quite
knife
fortunate
edge
with
right
that
now.
sort of stuff lately.
Get it in the box.
Like
Exactly.
the Palace game.
To be honest though, like if we take away the fact this is a big club in Man United,
not
Man
good.
United have played the way that a lot of the smaller teams will play at Anfield this season. So it could be a little bit worrying when we're speaking about Liverpool potentially going for the title.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Trent.
When we're talking about
Horrible.
Liverpool going for the title, it could be a little bit worrying that they're not able to break down this Man United team because, of course, the team costs more and they've got better players and whatnot. But stylistically, they're playing how a lot of teams are going to play at
Yeah,
Anfield
this is how
season.
everyone plays against Liverpool. Like everyone. So it's nothing new. And I think Man United, weirdly, they will get a bit of like hope from this.
Yeah,
I don't know how much hope they should, though.
No, they should get hope from. Obviously, I've said it. The writing's on the wall for Ten Hag. This is just delaying the inevitable, in my opinion. But they put in a good performance today. It was spirited. Like they fought to try and get a point. Because there's lots of teams that try and do what they do at Anfield and they still get broken down. They tried, and he was running around like a madman trying to put in challenges. Ooh, is it over? It's over, man.
Is that it?
It's over. It's over.
Man,
So-
you're about to
One
make
Bissaka
it.
as well.
It's over. Arsenal top of the league.
Yeah, Basaka's coming on.
That's a good result for
It's a
Arsenal.
huge result for us, mate.
It's a big result for Arsenal, but you got them next week. So
I know, mate. There's a part of me wondering, would I take this next week? Would I want
What was that? Jesus.
would you take a draw? Yeah, you would. Anfield
Next
yeah.
week?
You take a draw at Anfield, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I probably would.
course.
I
'Cause it
probably
keeps
would.
you top.
I probably would take a draw at Anfield.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's over.
Wan Bissaka.
Full time
Done it.
The tactical masterclass from Ten Hag secures a point at Anfield.
Klopp's fuming.
Klopp is going to be raging. I mean, like, to have that much possession and not be able to do anything with it. And I must admit, that for me, even though I don't like Manchester United and we are competing with them, it's a silver lining for me today. Is Klopp's miserable because he is a bellend, isn't he? Like, he is an absolute bellend.
Here's the thing, Rasmus Hojlund will not sleep tonight after that.
Oh, no,
He
no.
could. Jesus Christ.
That would have been a Mourinho masterclass if Hojlund had stuck that away.
imagine?
That would have been mental.
What do you reckon they do with him? Like, do you reckon they stick with Hojlund until he comes good, or do you reckon they buy another
Yeah,
striker?
because he's scoring in the Champions League, isn't he?
No, but seriously, if you're United, what do you do with Hojlund?
Bring back a Gallo on
Give him
loan in
service.
January, maybe.
No, to be fair to him, like I understand that like he missed the sitter today, and it's unforgivable how bad like to not even work the keeper really and bang it straight at his chest. But like you're one of the worst serviced strikers in the country. Like, is it fair to, like we've said about the comparisons between him and Jackson? Like Jackson has way more goals, but he's playing with Cole fucking Palmer, Raheem Sterling. He's getting much more service, and that's why we see Jackson missing a lot more chances than him because he's
If Hojlund had had the opportunities that Jackson has had so far, maybe you could make an argument. But what I would say is, you know what we were saying, like probably 4 or 5 games ago, we were going, tell you what though, like his numbers don't look good, but there is a player in there, and I'm not saying that I'm thinking any different now, but it's lessening as the game.
Oh, you're so right. I completely agree. If anything, I was like, Jackson's the joke, Hojlund will come good. That was my thinking. Now I'm like, do you know what? Jackson's like the Almiron of strikers. Like he's an absolute klutz.
There we are.
He works hard.
Final.
He'll another shot. Hit the like button. And he will make a lot of mistakes, but he actually has an impact on the game. And right now, Hojlund isn't able to do that because of the lack of help, I think. But just to round up the stats, by the way, 34 shots to 6.
Jesus.
34.
That must be a record for a 0-0 in the Premier League. It's got to be up there.
And Onana hasn't really made it like a world-class save.
He didn't have to.
No.
Another team that don't just do the basics, which is work this goalkeeper. Like they only had 8 on target, which a lot of them were speculative.
Yeah.
And which were comfortable saves for Onana. So like, it's
Can I just say this as well? I've just seen in the comments it said Dalot didn't have a yellow. He was given 2 yellow cards in 10 seconds.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Ridiculous.
Because he shouted twice. They gave it to him
ridiculous.
Twice.
I've never seen anything like that.
You might have a point.
I sort of thought you get the second shout for free after you've been booked once.
He shouted, got a yellow, carried on, and he gave him another.
No, in that case.
Shithouse.
Look, I think Delor's been a moron for that, but that is mental.
Yeah, that is stupid.
Where are we going with the refs? What are they doing?
It is that
though. Because it's like at the end of the day, this is entertainment, right? We all watch this for entertainment, and not to make it about.
Man, this isn't the X Factor. This is fucking Premier League.
Yeah, but that's where it was. The ref knew the game was boring. He thought, let me fucking liven this up for the watchers at home.
What are we doing?
Double book you.
Do we not want players to be that fired up? Come on, we're like 10 days before Christmas. This is like a late game on a Sunday. Do we not want players to be that competitive?
I don't know what the Christmas thing is. He's stressed about presents.
No, give him a yellow.
Worried.
Ref, it's Christmas.
I've got the wife to get fucking gifts for after this.
He's drunk as well. We're all on it.
No, give him a yellow if he's descent, but 2 yellows for that.
I agree.
What are you? And it was their throw-in.
He was right. He was right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Because
no
the refs are
festive
trying to
shit,
make
man.
a point about this abusing refs, aren't they? We know they've been talking about it and they want to crack down on it, but that is too far.
I would love to
giving
know.
them stuff to abuse then.
So interestingly, the key stats were 34 shots to 6, but if you're looking at actual big chances, it was 1-1. So that shows the lack of penetration from Liverpool. And I think Liverpool were just a bit predictable, like stop Mo Salah, and who else is going to actually create?
Man United 6 points off 4th, by the way.
Staggering.
Are they in that
crazy.
conversation? Are they in that conversation now?
But they're 6 points off.
If they're a point behind Newcastle.
They're in the conversation. However, they had a long run of quite easy games, which they collected a lot of their points from, and I think we're going to see that.
Look at the goal difference as well. They're on -3.
Yeah, even Chelsea are on 2. I'll just say though that table is misleading because there's a point between Man United and Newcastle. Newcastle have been so much better than Man United. So
At
much
home.
better. There's so much more to be able to look at Newcastle's performances and go off in terms of thinking, okay, who's going to be able to put more of these type of performances in? Because what Newcastle need to do is do what they've done in moments more consistently. What Man United need to do is do something they haven't done this season, which is play well. So,
But you know what? Table never lies, though.
Goal difference wise, when you're looking at the competition, Villa are on 16. Spurs 12, Newcastle 15, Man United -3. So like it does stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Shit team overachieving here, and that can't last much longer. But like they did dig in today, and I do give credit to the lads. Like they did work hard. I just wonder what is the goal moving forward?
if Ten Hag stays in charge, Man United finish closer to Chelsea than they do to Newcastle. 100%.
I mean, again, it's like what we were saying at the start of the stream of like the biggest insult that we could say to Man United fans is we wanted you to win today. The biggest insult I can say, even after that performance, is God, I really hope Ten Hag sticks around this.
Yeah.
Give him.
We could see a world in which David Moyes at West Ham finishes above Manchester United. That would be special for me.
Yeah.
That would be the Cinderella Man story for me.
10 years later, 10-year anniversary.
Do you know what I'm really looking forward to? And if we don't, this is the thing I'm not going to forgive Newcastle for.
Go on.
If Newcastle don't finish above Man United this season, I'm going to be fucking
That'd be
raging.
criminal.
Oh, same.
Because it's the one team in the league we've never finished above. The highest we ever finished was second, and Man United always finished above us.
And I grew up,
never finished above.
and I grew up in a country full of fucking Man United fans at school, so they're like my Sunderland,
Yeah.
all right? So,
I rate it.
What do you say? I mean, okay, as Newcastle fans, if you do finish below Man United,
It's a failure. They're shit, mate.
Is it a failure that falls upon Eddie Howe?
Yeah, it falls upon everyone at the club. You have to finish above Man United. They're shit. That's simple as that.
Yeah,
Like,
can't you lean on the fact that you said they've spent shitloads of money, so maybe in that respect you're not supposed to.
they've got more like in terms of like out and out spend. They've spent way more on big names and all of that. But at some point, what happens on the pitch has got to come into it. And I'm watching us play better than them very regularly, even if we have had some really rough games this season. And that for me is the minimum I'm accepting from this lot, is finish above Man United, bare minimum. If we can't finish above Man United when they look the worst I've ever seen them, then fucking hell. Come on, lads.
No, for sure, for sure.
We'll wrap it up there. Big love to all of the lads on the show. Smashed it today. What a good show. Don't forget, we'll be back soon. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.